Yeah, yeah, just publish it, and then I will let him know which champions to.
That we publish for deck on UBS, and then you can actually see which goes in.
It's already active, by the way. It's already
Yeah,
active.
but now.
Oh, that's the thing now. You can put your deck on the UPS. That's so great.
Yeah, so
So when we're talking, we talk like this. So, Athar, how's life? Wait, we are live? Wait, we are live?
Yeah, we are live. I think we are.
That was amazing.
Life's been good. Life's been good, dude.
Yeah, let's make it. Let's make it.
Hold on. I was about to go on like a full spiel.
How come Athar has his gamer tag and I don't?
I'm EK, bro. I'm well known, man. They know me.
It's also a bit lame to say big bad wolf. So you're analyst, I'm color, yeah?
Whatever you want.
We'll do. Yeah, we can mix it all. I'll open up. I'll use.
Yeah, so we are live. We are live. So don't say anything bad, buddy. Right.
Your Twitch, then
Yeah. Send us the link so we can post it.
I don't know the link of the.
Twitch, I have the link.
Yeah, yeah. The Twitch of the UAE.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
That's the Twitch. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, Lyle, if you can just send all the links. Can you post post on the announcement saying we are going live now?
We yeah, sitting here.
Don't.
We have like a floor is wet sign right there, bro.
Lyle, you here with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
You can also. You posted already? Okay.
We cause a ruckus every stadium we enter in. We know to take your confidence, all we do is win. Make a toast, pedal to the floor, accelerate. Raise the banners up high, I think it's time we celebrate. Run the clock, it's showtime. It's showtime. We gon' come alive when it's on the line. Run the clock, it's showtime.
When the game is going on, then I think it's fine. All right, I think we're live. Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final Summoner Skirmish of Set 2 here in beautiful, beautiful Dubai. I am here joined with EK Pilot, or also known as Abdullah Attar, as I'd like to call him. I am Adib. I am here live at the B1 Mall. We've got a very exciting skirmish going on with almost about 30 players signed up, 30 plus. players, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
And it's going to be a very interesting set. And we'll be going to the gameplays shortly in a bit. But what I also wanted to kind of understand from you, or what do you, or know from you, Athar, is what is your expectation coming in today? What do you think is going to be the decks that's going to be played over here? Considering we just had the regionals happen over in France, and yeah, what do you think is going to happen?
Right. So I think now we're just hot off the heels of Lil. Definitely the deck to beat is both Azir and Yi. And I feel like seeing how dominant they were in the tournament kind of shows, I think, we're going to play a representation too. Definitely a lot of Azir, a lot of Master Yi. For sure. I mean, of course, Aurelia is going to be prevalent in the meta. But I'm interested personally to see the Dravens. I think Draven is a deck that we might see from our players here, trying to target all these new Yi players, all these new Azir players, kind of flood into the deck after the regional win.
And that's a very good point. I think what a lot of people fail to realize is that the Azir deck that won, the person, Squirtle, if I'm not mistaken, is an exceptional player that went undefeated. He knew the deck inside and out. He obviously done a lot of rounds and practices just to get that initial flow going, and just to steamroll all his opponents, knowing when to play, what cards to play. And one of the most underlooked part is probably expecting what the opponent's going to be playing, because that's a big part as well. And I'm sure that a lot of players over here definitely did their research. But do you think they had enough time between the regionals and the skirmish that we're having today to practice that Azir deck to see if they're able to fulfill or bring that?
I mean, I feel like Squirtle, an amazing player, that takes commitment. That's like weeks and weeks. That's throughout the entire set. That is just constant playing, right? And I feel
Undefeated,
like,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, fair. He's undefeated against Aurelia full meta. And I will say Azir is a pretty hard deck to pilot. It's a lot of small mistakes that can cost you the entire game, and it's not as forgiving as the other decks. I will say, people who have played the deck from the start of set 2, I do see them giving up, having a good chance to take the tournament. But people who recently just started deck, seeing the Lil win, I mean, a week is not that big enough time to kind of understand this very difficult deck.
I agree with you in that sense. It is not an easy deck to navigate with. It was definitely not an S tier deck up until the regionals. So it will be interesting to see how many. Speaking of which, how many Azirs do we have in this tournament today? What are we looking at? What are the numbers? What's the representation?
All right, so I think today, if you're only 2 Azir players, I will say, now, although it did win the regional, I think that is mostly on the backs of how good Squirtle was. I still feel that it is probably still low A tier to high B tier kind of deck. It's good when it's piloted to the degree that it was piloted at Lil. It is the strongest deck in the meta, or one of the strongest decks in the meta. But I think right now what I'm trying to see more of is these Yis, these Aurelias, these Dravens. And right now we kind of do have nearly 17% representation with Yi. 5 players on Yi. We have 6 players on Aurelia. We have very low representation for the deck, but 2 players on Draven. I think we have some little audio, video difficulties. Have to redo everything again. Was he typing? Did the audio not go through?
Lyle, I don't think the audio went through, right?
I'm not 100% sure. I can go back in the VOD. I think audio was going through, but video was stuck.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, give us a minute. We're facing a bit of technical difficulties. There we go. We are back.
We're good.
All right. I guess we'll have to redo the intro again. Welcome everyone to the final skirmish that's happening here in beautiful, beautiful United Arab Emirates, Dubai. We are here at the B1 Mall, witnessing the final skirmish of set 2 that's happening here with 30 plus players all right behind us, starting their getting ready to start their round ones going into this matchup. I'm joined here with EK Pilot, also known as Abdullah Attar, and we are quite excited to see what's happening here. And I think the question has to be asked at this point is, Attar, what's your expectation today? What are you most looking forward to?
Right. Honestly, definitely off the heels from Lil. I think we have our round 1 pairings.
We do have our round 1 pairings, I believe, and the round 1 table. I believe, will be starting shortly.
Right.
And we can, in the meantime, while that's going on, I can see the two players that are lined up over there are Francisco, who was the reigning not last Summoner Skirmish, but the first Summoner Skirmish champion, paired up with K Dean, also a veteran player who I might believe he might be playing Victor. I know he's pretty good with Victor. But yeah, no, this might be a run it back story for Francisco, considering he won the first skirmish of the season, and just to finish it off by winning the last skirmish of the season as well here in Dubai. Will be quite exciting to see how he's going to be. There we go. I believe the fists have been pumped, and I believe we will be going to the game table shortly.
There we go. So Maximiliano, I mean, a veteran Draven player. And we do have Katie on Yi. Now,
That's exciting.
yeah, so I think we're just going back to
Just some technical difficulties.
so I guess we'll talk about the matchups here. So we do have Draven. I think we're definitely one of the decks that are slated to win the entire tournament for sure. It has a good matchup into Yi, a good matchup to Azir, and it's a good meta read from Francisco to say, you'll probably be seeing a lot more Azir, a lot more Yi, and this deck kind of counters them. Draven loves to be in combat, and those two decks, Azir and the Yi, are forced into combat due to the nature of their decks.
And I think that's a very interesting point there, Athar, is that a lot of people have maybe kind of realized that Draven or is under the impression that Draven is weak after the bans. I don't think so. Mid-range Draven was the initial killer of the stream, and obviously people found much better ways to play the Miracle version and just kind of getting ahead with that game and getting ahead with the tempo. Sure, the Miracle version is probably not that great, but Draven as a legend and all the tools that he has, especially with the signature gear, a gear, essentially a buff that cannot be countered no matter how, is still in rotation, and it's a very slept on and underdog deck in my opinion. And I think you're right, Francisco being on that Draven, he's quite well aware on how the champion works. He's won the skirmish with the Miracle version of it. But I don't know. It's definitely an interesting deck to see how this is going to be going. What do you think? How do you think Draven's going to perform compared to the Azirs that's lined up, the Victors that are lined up, the Kaisas and the Ezreals?
I mean, definitely a deck that was hurt by the ban list, but it is still Draven. Winning combat drawing one is one of the greatest ways of just creating card advantage. We did lose cards such as Call Chop, which wasn't played in the deck. We did lose Fight or Flight, which did hurt the deck in a big way, but it did hurt all the purple decks. So it's kind of a blanket nerf to the entire thing. In terms of how good the deck is, I mean, it's still Draven. You still have Ferris Forerunner. Ferris Forerunner, one of the strongest cards in the set right now. Definitely just having the ability to just not only have 6 might once, but then again the turn afterwards. It says no to all these removal decks. It says no to all these like pump decks. So it's very hard for these decks to kind of just stop this kind of tempo that Draven puts down.
Just got word from production that there is a bit of technical difficulties going on with the current camera setup right now. Just waiting for that to be resolved, and I think we can jump straight into game one that's happening in the feature table, or round one of the feature table, Master Yi against Draven. I think, Athar, you already touched points in terms of this match is a bit favored against Draven just because of the fact of winning combat and drawing cards. But how do you think Master Yi is positioned, or what do you think should be Master Yi's plan going into this match? How do you think he should be looking into this?
Right. So I think what Yi has to know is that there's definitely some breakpoints that he has to be to kind of win this matchup. Important ones is 4. So 4 might is a good breakpoint because it not only beats Kaisa accelerated, but also beats their turn 1 Kai Turner buffed up with an axe. And then you have some other ones. You have 7 from Darius accelerated. And then I think also, 7 and 4. Because you have Kai's accelerated with the axe at 7. And then Darius, normally, he's also 7. So it all becomes about how can we fit our units, develop our boards, so we're always kind of barely beating those breakpoints and forcing our opponent to use their rebukes, to use their pumps to kind of beat us in that way.
And We have we've gone into game one, or we've started round one already with the players on board right now, shuffling the deck. It looks like Carl or KD will be the one that's going first, tapping two to play that Lonely Poro. Gentlemen, do excuse us for the glare that is showing us, that's being shown on the screen at the moment right now with the cards. I'm sure over time it will get a bit better. But here we go. Yeah, that's the match that's already started. You can see that the Lonely Poro has been played out. Can't really make out the card that's been played for Maximiliano due to reflection.
But I think that's just this face down sleeves because we are going. Actually, no. I think we can maybe push the table forward.
Yeah, we may need to push the table. I would suggest, sorry, apologies for that.
Push the table forwards.
Yeah, we can just have a quick word with production, and I will do that. In the meantime, Athar, why don't you walk us through the game plan? What's going on over here?
Right. So, I mean, what we want to see from the side of he here is kind of that Stellar Core Inheritor, but also looking at his hand, Kading does have Trinity Force. Now, Trinity Force plus a 2-drop is one of the strongest things that he can do. Getting this 6-might unit. Oh, we don't even have a 2-drop. I'm so sorry. Ooh. I mean, having a 2-drop here. Right? Going over, again, some technical difficulties on our side. But we do have that Lonely Poro currently on the Zone Warrens. What I see. Discarding the Aurelia. Not the discard you want to see because you do want to develop that early. We do have the Trinity Force in hand. Getting that +2 on the defense. I think we're just kind of stopping the play here, trying to figure out what we want to do. Now, we do have that tie turn. So we have the Overzealous Fan. Overzealous Fan's kind of weak in this matchup, seeing how we do have the Valmos layer, which, kind of stops the entire play pattern that Max wants to do with this Overzealous. So really good choice of Battlefield from the side of Master Yi. So there is Maximilian's first conquer. Right. So we do see, I'm pretty sure that's a, now we're going to see an anti-glare alone. We have a little Timo back there trying to stop the glare. We're trying to get the angle correct. It is 12 p.m. on a very, very sunny day in the UAE, so do forgive us. We do see the Stellar Core Herder coming out from the side of KD. Now, this card is very important in this matchup. Being able to get so many resources, kind of matching the draw that Maximiliano wants to see. So we have a Kaisa. I think we just have to move the table. I think that's going to be happening probably soon. So, as now using a falling star, huge play from the side of Max. Now, Kading have to taking a very tough decision here of either letting this Lonely Pearl live and stopping the point draw from the points from the side of Max, deciding to keep the Stellar in base alive, using a hard bargain to stop this to stop the discipline from the side of Kading. Now we will be conquering now, getting that draw one from the side of Kaisa. Maybe we'll have to move the table. We're going to have to move the table a bit.
Yeah, sure. We will be moving the table as soon as this game is done. Do not want to interfere with the current state of the game.
Right.
But yeah, I think we can still kind of get an idea of what's going on over there.
So just to catch you up, we did see a Kaisa Survivor being played the turn before and a Stellar Inheritor. But we did see a very good play from the side of Max here, using a Falling Star to not only kill both his turn 1 and turn 2 play, but also a hard bargain to say no to the discipline that we had to draw. I think we got a little bit of a cloud, so we can see some of these plays. There we go. Forgive us for the little production issues. However, now the side of Max, we do have a very good board state here. The camera doesn't work. Camera's stuck there. Camera stuck. Camera stuck.
Yeah.
No, the bottom camera.
Yeah. I
Oh, he's not there. Cool. So, if you're on the side of Katie now, you are kind of behind on points. You're going to be giving up a 4-point deficit at this point. I would like to see the Master Yi being developed here from the side of Kadeen. Ooh, and drawing that also fast one turn too late would have been very good last turn.
I also forgot to kind of introduce.
We can hear.
Yeah.
Oh, they can hear us. Okay.
Also forgot to introduce that we do have another caster on call with us that's not on site. Mr. Lyle Lazala, if I'm not mistaken, is on the call with us. Lyle, why don't you go ahead and kind of introduce yourself while these players are kind of setting up? I know it's a bit too late. We had a little bit of production issues going back and forth, but better late than never, right?
Yeah. Hey everyone, I'm Lyle. Good to be on stream. And yeah, looking forward to a great day of some good Riftbound matches and to cast alongside you guys.
Yeah. So Lyle, what is your expectation going into this match here? You see, we just kind of briefly talked about, Draven showing up. In this case, Draven is a bit more favored against this matchup with Master Yi. But what's your expectation? What are you excited to see happen over here?
I think I'm excited to see if Kadeen is able to come back from just those massive board wipes that Draven had early on with the Falling Star taking out the Poro and the Stellar Corn Hoarder, and to see if he can make his way back. And then we see the Rebuke coming, and that's going to hurt a lot.
Right, I think definitely one of the biggest things you kind of have to play around against these red decks is that Falling Star. Being able to just say no to the entire board development you've been bringing up for the past few turns. However, that Rebuke being kind of pushing up that's a 3-point lead. Max just 1 point away from that 6 points that you do want to see on these kind of aggressive decks.
That's right. The rebuke is definitely something that's going to hurt Carl over here. Getting that mastery back to hand, got to spend another turn. By then, it might just be lethal for Maximiliano, and he can kind of take that game home. But once again, we are faced with our greatest enemy for the stream at the moment right now, the player, which is unfortunately affecting the card visibility from Maximiliano's side. But rest assured, we will have production kind of fix that, and they will be moving the table a bit away from the sunlight once this game is finalized and done.
Right, and I mean, Max does have the runes to kind of. We had to spend a lot of runes for that Falling Star a second ago, but we do want to see some kind of board state being built from the side of Max. We have 5 runes. Now, I might like to see just the Draven Showboat being kind of
That
developed
is
this turn.
also a very interesting choice, right there, guys. Is it having the Draven Showboat being the chosen champion rather than the purple one, in my opinion, which is kind of like a game finisher, kind of a game changer. Especially with the right to win combination. What are your thoughts on this, guys? What do you feel about having Showboat as your chosen champion rather than I forgot what the other one is called?
Audacious, the Raven Audacious.
Still,
It feels like the Draven Showboat is just a bit more stable. Like you have a bit more early drop, so you don't need while the Draven Vanquisher was missed with the bans. Draven the Draven Showboat kind of makes up for that in the late game with its increasing might.
I think I reset again too, so you have to.
it's stuck again. It's stuck.
That's fun.
It's stuck. Right.
No, definitely do agree. I think the Showboat coming in down one turn earlier, having the more might. I mean, this deck we don't really need that extra point because we are playing on tempo, and not having the fight or flights, not have to kind of save our own audacious from that little -1, not having the Zonias that Aurelia has. We do kind of give up the safety of this the negative point, right? Not be able to save the Zonias, not be able to fight or flight her back.
Yeah.
Because of the bans. So the audacious are a lot more of a kind of a lot more of a loose con for the deck that you don't want to run. When you could be running again Showboat, consistent might, and your sixth drop, you do want it just to be that forerunner that we have seen so much in these past a couple sets.
Yeah, the forerunner over here would definitely be putting Carl in a very difficult position where he won't be able to kind of bounce back from that, especially considering the point lead difference between these two at the moment right now. But if you are Carl at this point, Abdullah and Lyle, what's your game plan at this point? What are you trying to build in your board to make sure you can kind of bounce back from these games? Because it's not impossible. It's difficult, definitely, but it's not impossible.
So the one thing you don't want to see right now is you're kind of just forced to. Ooh, interesting choice of going into the zone here and not the Valmos. I think definitely just looking for card draw.
Probably, yeah, looking to get those right cards in play. But what could be the right cards? Maybe a first mate. That could be something that Carl could be kind of fishing for, but he doesn't have the rules enough to be playing that card either. So it might just be in a position for. There you go. He passes the turn, gives the 6 point advantage lead to Maximiliano. But yeah, once again, guys, what do you think at this point Carl should be doing to ensure that he's not in lethal range at this point?
Definitely from the side of Carl here, I mean, the one thing we could have done is develop more of our board in the earlier turns. We kind of did give up our entire board state with that Falling Star. Now kind of falling into the same trap of just summoning Yi every single turn because we have to have a body. But, one rebuke here and it kind of just spells curtains in the entire game if Maximilian has it. There's a bunch of cards that kind of do just win us on the spot. We do have that 3 plus 5 is 8. Yeah, so 3 plus 6 is 9. Plus 4 is 13 might. So we can trade our entire board if the Yi does even have that punch first. So we kind of have a very safe position from the side of Max here.
Is that a Bryn here that was put down on the board?
Yeah, there's a Bryn here, forcing out the discipline from the side of Kadeen. Now that Yi will go up to an 8, 10 on the defense.
Interesting choice to play the Bryn here on 6 points, especially considering he can't really go into lethal at the moment right now as he's already scored the point for Holden. Do you think this is just a play from Maximiliano to build his board just so that he can maybe push to that lethal aspect? And never mind, he's taking the combat. He wants to clear this Yi off.
Right, so we will lose a large majority of our units here from the side of Max, but again, Katie does not have the quickest accelerated units. This Yi is our only one, so most likely we will just see this Kaisa holding for the game.
Trigger comes for Zon Warren, but I'm not sure if that's considered a conquer, is it?
So we do win combat because we conquered, and we do get the Zon Warrens here. So we actually kind of draw. We see 3 cards here from the side of Max. So it's a huge amount of this card draw again from that Draven Legend.
Yeah, and that's what was the power spike you were talking about, Avtar. Just having to enable that Draven Legend, just able to draw these cards back and forth. It is a bit of a really strong position for Maximilian to be in. Sure, if he didn't have the answers before, I'm sure he does it now. To close out the game.
And this hitting card is probably going to be all Shiro. Again, Yi does not have the best ways of accelerating units on to the battlefield, but having to accelerate both units here might be too tall the task inside of Yi.
Carl does run the one tasty Fey Folk and also the first mate, but that's a lot of runes for potentially just getting being sent out or being beaten on board.
Right, and I mean, if you're arm, something to kind of deal with both battlefields at the same time. I mean, that might just be too much on the side of Yi.
Just saw the comment from Osama where our volumes are low. We'll be speaking to production on this just to see if we can kind of bump that up.
Again, this is a very important turn from the KD and having to think this one through. We see that Finder Center coming out. Getting that draw one, you need to see the answers, but we only have 9 runes. So we do have enough runes to play our Casey Faithful Accelerated with a charm. But I think that's it. That's all she wrote. Going into game 2 now, I think Carl has to kind of respect this falling star, respect these cards from the side of Max that kind of just say remove all those board states.
So coming in from the side of Carl, what do you think he sides in his sideboard to try to make this matchup go a little bit more in his favor?
If I'm on the side of Carl, I mean for sure, if we have the removal, we have to have we need every single trial, we need every single challenge if we do run it. I do want to see maybe a sabotage, maybe a definitely the not so fast. Kind of say no to these falling stars, say no to these rebukes. I mean, if we do have it, maybe a one of unyielding spirit might be able to help us.
Yeah, the not so fast is definitely winning act. That would be hard. Or, however, again, so many cards. It's a bit different. I don't know. Could be maybe right now we know that. Although I do want to know what the other side are.
Setting up inside of these two players, you probably will be seeing the Raven Conservatory coming out from the side of Kadeen. And I'm not sure what Draven might have in store for us today. Might be seeing the Void Gate just to kind of really hammer in this falling star that might come up from the side of Max. But I'm not sure what. We lost our Reavers, we lost our Obelisks, we lost a lot of battlefields that we kind of did really like. So we'll be interested to see what we've seen, what the adaptation from the side of Maximiliano will be.
One interesting thing to note is Carl Dean isn't running challenge in his list.
Right. So I do feel like, I mean, as we all know, the Charm is a very good card when it comes to using that yield +2 legend ability, right? The issue is, facing the Draven, if we do Charm and Draven has the ability to
Yeah, you are right. I think just getting, I mean, yes, you are right. Charms is one way for Master E to kind of clear the board and keep it in a good position for it. Master E to kind of be in that tempo lead. However, with the ability of Maximiliano, with the ability of Raven, just to have multiple units, especially with something like the first Forerunner, where yes, you're essentially killing the big one, you could say, but just getting two mechs with equally with the same might is going to be a bit of a uphill battle for Carl to kind of go through. Once again, standard opening, spends the 2 runes to get the Lonely Poro on board. I do want to ask you guys, what do you think is the best opener for Master Yi? Is it the Lonely Poro or is it the Desert Call?
I mean, first, I mean, if you're Yi, what you want to see every single time is that Lonely Poro into the Trinity Force. That's probably one of the strongest things in the game, especially if you're going first. It's super hard for decks right now to beat 6 might on defense, and having that kind of inevitability with that Trinity Force, making that game go so much faster is kind of a scary thing for decks to handle.
Completely
we do wanna
random note. What do you guys
Right.
think of the Draven bringing Aspirant's Climb into this matchup?
Oh, that is Aspirant's
That is
Climb
an
inside of
Aspirant's
Draven.
Interesting.
Again, that is. I assume the way it works is we're trying to stop our opponent from being uneven, right? Because Ask is a going second player, we're slower on the we're slower to get to those first points, getting to 2, 4, 6, 8. So I think Draven players saying, you know what, if we go up to 9, that I will probably double conquer before you double conquer because I have more units than you. So I think this is him saying that I will now be on the 3, 5, 7, 9 tempo much quicker than you will. I mean, it's very interesting, and I think I'm not sure if it's gonna work out for him or not, but I like the thinking from the side of Max.
I love this game and the innovation that it brings for battlefields and how you choose different ones for whether you're opting to go first or for second. We'll have to see if it works out in his favor this time around. But yeah, super interesting to see.
And I mean, exactly what I thought would have happened. We see again more units being developed inside of Max, so saying, you know, I will have access to this double comp before you do. And we do see the Aurelia being put down. I mean, one of the pivotal parts in set 2 for the side of Yi, well known for not having the means to attack, right? Being really on defense, but not really going to attack. And it's Aurelia not only having the flex, but having the ability to just get to these really high might numbers. And this is a perfect card to be seen here on this turn.
That plus having the Guardian Angel already equipped, preventing any sort of falling star or other board wipe, just keeping his board as safe as possible and just as sticky as possible for Maximilian.
That's right. Yeah, just having that. It may not be the same level of having an Aurelia and an Aurelia Legend deck, but definitely the +2, the Master Yi's ability, along with all the other additional buffs. And let's not forget the Punch First, which is essentially a detrimental card for putting on this Aurelia, but just definitely bring a lot of challenges for Maximiliano at the moment right now. But it is fairly even in terms of points. Kadine's board is a bit more built compared to Maximiliano's, but he's got all his runes open and definitely start pushing those Ferris Forerunners, if I'm not mistaken. He's on a 6 rune mark at the moment right now.
That's a Hopeful Marauder, and I think it's a 2-drop. We'll be seeing it just in a second. So, yeah, no,
Goes in with the Marauder, goes in with the
oh, it's a Rek'Sai.
Rek'Sai Breacher. All right, that's an interesting card over here. Should be an equal of 4 + 3, 7 might.
So we do have the assault from the side of Rex. I think it's 8 might to the side of 4 from the side of KD.
4, yeah.
We will be killing 1 unit with this. We do miss our Raven Bloom. Pro.
Kills the Rek'Sai, gets the card draw with the. Did he forget to trigger the card draw? What's happening?
We do get a card from the side of Max. Not sure if he did it or not. Might have not been caught on stream. Well, that is a card you don't see often. The Beast from Below, getting into this bounce back one of the units from the side of KD, and I mean, just like that, the entire board is kind of swapped from the side from you.
Yeah, you can tell Maximiliano definitely some thought into coming into this matchup, knowing exactly what to pull, what to bring. You know, he does know when it comes to straight up combats. You know, might against might, probably not favored against the Master Yi. But hey, you know what? I can bounce your units back to your hand. What are you going to do about that? How are you going to resolve that? Right? Sure, you may have enough counter spells to kind of or not so fast to make sure that doesn't happen. But it just puts you in a very, very detrimental situation at the moment right now. No units on board. He can bring out the Master Yi in the next turn, but I don't know. This does seem like it's in a very difficult position for Carl to be in right now.
I mean, again, Yi's biggest strength is kind of developing his might on the backfield, on the battlefields. So, I mean, the biggest way to kind of say no to that is saying, you know what, I'll just make sure you don't have any units. If you can't get on a battlefield, you can't use your legend ability. And I think right now it's a very tough position from the side of Cadian. And do we have a way of just kind of getting onto a battlefield as soon as possible?
Yeah.
Getting on this battlefield as quick as possible. I mean, we do have some ways of doing it. We have our mastery honed. I will be probably be seeing this turn. We have the safety of GA, so I kind of do like the play.
Do you think it's worth just trying to develop a board knowing that your opponent is fully tapped out? And
Yeah, I would say so. Just making sure that he can kind of develop that stage, but it seems like that's not the case. He does seem like he will be protecting this mastery, which does make sense. Goes up to almost 9 might, if I'm not mistaken, in a combat. So
Right.
Does help Carl to kind of stabilize a bit.
I mean,
I think
again, yeah, go on.
sorry, I think what's also important here is to remember his Raven Bloom trigger. I don't recall if he was able to remember that in the previous combat. And so if
I think we did get both Raven Bloom triggers, but both of them were units. Having missed out on having missed out on every single Raven Bloom trigger on this game, I do think Cadian probably has better access to and better odds with hitting this. But I mean, it's all luck of the draw by this point.
Gentlemen, remind me one more time. Ravenbloom student, the Ravenbloom Conservatory. Sorry, you would draw, or you'd look at the top card. If it's a spell, you draw it, and if it's not a spell, what happens to it? Just gets recycled.
I think yeah. So yeah, Ravenbloom Monastery on the defense, being able to reveal the top card of the deck, and then if it is a spell, you have to add it to your hand. If it's a monster, if it's a gear or a unit, we get to recycle them. So again, getting these buffs from the side of Cadian will be very pivotal in this matchup. But also, if we kind of give our Draven here a free review from the defense, it is very bad from our side.
Yeah, that's right. I think there's more harm to be done than good to be gained from Carl's side with that Ravenbloom Conservatory. But again, seems like it's fairly. Of course, Maximiliano with the point lead at the moment right now, but he does not have any units on board, if I'm not mistaken. Or he's got one unit on
That's the beast from below.
Yeah, the beast from below on the Aspen Scribe's battlefield. We'll see how this can be developed.
Right now, Lila, what are your thoughts on this beast from below? Not a card we see often. So, any thoughts about it?
I think it's a great card, especially for dealing with like sticky units or things that you don't want to interact with. One of the plus sides is not only does it bounce an enemy unit from the battlefield, it also brings one of your friendly units back. And so you can bring up any liabilities that you have on board, like a Kaisa, or if you want to replay a Noxus Hopeful, or if you just want to pivot. It's really useful in that sense. It is a little bit expensive, but I think it's worth bringing it in from the sideboard.
I do agree. Now, have you seen Maximiliano kind of just pass with all this room?
I do also want to ask you, gentlemen, or Lyle rather, is the Draven running Ride the Wind? That'll be a very interesting card to see how you'd be able to play that. Or is there a Y as well in this deck where we can go back to the good old Annie days with the finishers? Oh man, I miss those times, huh?
Much simpler times. There is one copy of Ride the Wind, and so we'll see if he's able to draw it in time.
This is also a good point to kind of bring up, gentlemen. Don't you think that it's yes, set one. We did have Riftbound in a state where it was majority dominated by Kaisas, masteries at some extent, and then jumped all the way to Annie's towards the end. But however, considering the current meta right now, especially after the Miracle ban, you could say, just having so much variety and so much options right now. Yes, Aurelius are dominated, but you still have Dravens, you have the Masteries making the comeback, you have the Kaisas as well making the comeback. Victor Control is somewhat of a deck as well. How do you? What's your future? What do you think is the outlook for the future of Riftbound going into the set three? Looking into the various decks that are available. Let's start with you, maybe Athar, and get your opinion on this.
I mean, set three, we do have some monstrous decks coming out from I think all the different colors. We're seeing the resurgence of Aurora with Karthus, Baron, and Elder Drake. We're seeing a lot more blue-yellow from the side of LeBlanc will be one of the strongest decks, I think, in the format. I mean, we have Vex Apathetic being one of the strongest champion cards we've ever seen. Having that deflect on 4, guaranteed 4 drop with the stun. To say no to decks like Liliad, decks like Rangda, who are also pretty good. I mean, I'm willing to say that going into set 3, we're gonna have a very balanced meta with a broad variety. Not seeing that kind of one color dominance that we saw from the side of the start of set 2. I mean, not seeing that again. In other words, kind of the set 2.5 at the moment. But now, kind of going for an aggressive play from the side of Carl. Using our discipline to kind of challenge this beast from below. We do see a spinning action on the side of Maximiliano. And now we're investing a lot into this kind of push here. What I would have loved to see is actually letting the beast from below stay on that battlefield and just developing a board from our own.
So on guard and a discipline being casted. Sorry, Lyle, we kind of missed you out in that question, but we will come back to you in a bit. Just trying to see how this combat resolves at the moment right now. A hard bargain being played out. A defy being played out. Damn. All right. There's a spells being slinged around left and right from both sides.
Yeah, he really wants that E to stay on board.
Does make sense. It does have ganking as well, so he would be able to score those additional points next turn. But with no units on board from Maximiliano's side, and considering he might be running the Darius, that could be an option. The Darius along with the spinning axe, that could be something that's a bit devastating. That could be the problem now for Carl. But if not, he might be in a very good position to kind of maintain. He passes the turn, does he? No, he does not.
We should have access to our Draven champion, so at worst, that's probably the one thing we'll be seeing played. On the side of your side, Lyle, did you think that push was a good play from the side of Carl, or was it a bit risky?
It's always the power of hindsight, If he doesn't have the Defy in hand and gets hard bargain, then he gets absolutely blown out. But he did have the cards in hand, and so now he has a board and is able to still stick in this game. I think with his current position, I think it was the gamble that he needed to make. Otherwise, he would have been starting to fall very far behind.
We have the Wi-Fi. All right, so I mean, if you're Draven here, we kind of do want to get back on board. It's hard for us to make a big enough board to challenge this He's ganking at the moment, so probably gonna be a few slow turns from the side of Maximiliano. I mean, we are only on 5 from the side of E, so we do have 1 extra turn. The max we'll be going up to is 7. So we want to see what kind of play we do see. I want to see the fairest form. We don't see fairest form on it. We want to see a lot of units just being put on board here. We did lose out on some important cards such as that spinning axe. So having access to stuff like that, you can probably win us this endgame.
And there we see another Rek'Sai, I think, accelerated, trying to end the rebuke as well on that E.
Right, I think having, again, these accelerated units, Kaden doesn't really have access to as much. We do go down a lot here. I think that's 3 runes just to get this 1 conquer. We go up to 5. I mean, but and how are we dealing with this E? The next turn he comes down.
Yeah, I'm not sure I am a big fan of that. I think I would have liked to see maybe some more development at base. I mean, you're playing Aspirant's Climb. You do have time to kind of build up your base and build up a board that is a bit more resilient to a really like large might mastery E.
So we have 20 minutes on the round. I mean, we had to see. I mean, this is going to be a long game, this aspirant. So this might not actually go to game 3. Again, both players being on 5 points. What you want to see is, remember, this is a 9-point game. So our tempos is 5, 7 to 9.
Yeah.
Now we see the Faith, the Tasty
Accelerated
Faithful.
Tasty Faithful coming into board. Is he going to attach a GA? That is a question. He decides to attach the GA. What do you think of this play, guys?
I mean, Faithful's biggest strength is his channel 2 draw 1. Yeah, should be game 3. Katie.
Hello. I think we are back. Right. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. We are back once again, just facing technical difficulties.
Caster by day, audio technician by night.
Yes, resolved by our very own EK pilot himself. So we missed a
The
bit of
hero
the
of
game.
our community.
Exactly. Chosen one. Right. So looks like what's going on? What is the point lead difference here? I don't see any point markers.
It's a very aggressive line from the side of Caden here, going for this discipline to try and beat this Poro. I mean, anything from the side of Max kind of is a full blowout. Spinning axe, any two my interaction. We know Purple
if I'm
loves
not-
two my.
If I'm
two-
not
two
mistaken,
interaction.
that is a.
That's definitely a Poro into Poro fight.
Is it? Yeah, I thought so too. I forgot about which Poro is that again? The one with the deflect.
Right?
That's
Um,
Pouty Poro.
Howdy
Poro,
Poro.
Yeah, it's a Poro on Poro combat. My money's on the lonely Poro guys. I don't know about you guys.
I mean, currently winning in the might. Yeah, if we do get the conquer, we do get the 2 runes back from the side of Targon's Peak. Again, I just would have loved
For
to
our-
see this development instead of this aggressive play. Go on, Lyle, sorry.
Yeah, just to catch up our viewers, we do have Targon's Peak from Draven, and we'll have Forge of the Fluffed for Carl Dean, which is very interesting. We did see some gear, but what are your thoughts on this battlefield in this matchup?
So, Forge of the Fluff, usually a very safe match battlefield where it only really affects us. Even though we might not be running as many gears, we're only running the GAs, Trinity Forces, right? But the important part is it's one of those battlefields that we see a game and the opponent usually does not see any kind of gains for it's usually a net positive for us. But with this kind of Draven spinning axe with Forge of the Flush is actually a very strong play. Now, I'm not sure what we saw from the side of Max here, but they get the 5.
I think it was the one Ride the Wind, one copy of Ride the Wind.
Oh
Ooh,
man.
Ride the Wind. I mean, it would have been huge here.
Yep.
Do
You know
you
what?
remember our
I
ready
would-
2 runes?
Yep, I think so. No,
He
he's
might have
ended
missed
his
that
turn
trigger.
with- Might missed the trigger. Looks like yeah.
Yep,
Trigger
that
was
thing missed
missed.
trigger. Yep. Again.
You know what, guys? I think it's one of those.
Oh, there it is. No,
situations-
remember the trigger.
there we
Yeah,
go.
remember
Okay.
the trigger right there.
I mean, keep in mind, this is game 1. We
Yep.
do have a long day, or I should say 2 days of Riftbound activities. I mean, if you were to make mistakes, now would be the time,
Now would
right?
be the time.
Yeah. Not later
Not
on in the
dependable
game.
game 3, to be fair.
Yep. So he can afford to make a few mistakes here and there, but it's all good. Ready to the 2 runes.
I
So
think
we have
given
on
with
that.
the time as well, it seems unlikely to be able to find a winner, and it might just end in a tie. So, but who
We
knows?
could be
Anything
put-
can happen.
Point difference of 3 points, 2 points, if I'm not mistaken, could determine the winner over here.
Mhm.
But a cleave on
Ooh,
the side
cleave
of
is huge.
on Kaisa. A bit excessive, maybe, but let's see.
No, so we do. I mean, that part does go up to 4. So we kind of do need this interaction.
That is true. That is true. But considering there's 2 runes open from Carl's side, and this is somewhat of a reverse Ravenbloom conservatory for the Kaisa, I would say. Actually, which Master E could benefit a lot more from the Stargan Speak than I would say the Draven could, right? So he's got those 2 runes up. You do know those pump spells such as Discipline and On Guard cost only 2 or 1. So you are leaving yourself, or I don't know. At this point, you're trying to make sure you're flushing out those spells from Draven's, from Master Yi's side. But it will be interesting to see what happens over here.
I mean, we already used that lead. We see a Rek'Sai. I think it's going
Yes.
really aggressive here.
Yeah.
Oh, that is 11 might just for this one
One
point.
night for this Poro.
That might be the loneliest Poro I've ever seen.
I mean, we do get this comfort, but look at, I mean, if you're on call, you're really happy. Having to invest 7 extra might is a lot of resources just to kill this one Poro.
That is right, yeah. And he's tapped out as well, if I'm not mistaken. So Paul starting off the round in a very good position next turn. Let's see how this goes. Got the Poro in base. Got, if I'm not mistaken, 3 or 4 cards in hand.
So again, we do have 6 runes that we can develop something such as a rune runner, something like Aurelia. But I mean, this Oro is a very safe conquer. You know, we saw Kaisa already, we saw Rek'Sai, so I'm not really too afraid of these accelerated units from the side of Max. Even if they do, we still got a draw, so it's not the end of the world if he has it.
Yep.
Stack
Stack deck being played as a response. That was a quick draw from Maximiliano, probably the answer he was looking for his next turn.
We're definitely looking for something like Speniac, some of these cards that do generate us a lot of value, kind of say no to the pump spells that he has access to.
Two points on the side of Carl. He will be up with enough runes to be playing the Mastery next turn if required.
There's that rune
there's
runner.
the rune runner. That is massive. May not be as strong as in a matchup compared to Victor or Kaisa, but definitely it is a pretty good card to have inside of Mastery against a Draven, especially against those falling stars. You know. But what other cards do you think that could counter, you know, this curse? I mean, this rune runner. It's usually the runners that are the problem,
Right.
huh?
I mean, these runners are running the game right now. If you're on the side of Max, you have to think of these breakpoints. On the attack, this thing can go up to, I mean, just to 12 with a single punch first. And if you're on the side of Draven, getting up to 13 might is a very, very tall thing to ask for. I'm not sure if we're going to have the answers to this thing just now, but I do want to see kind of us developing the answers for the future. We only have 5 minutes on this round. So we do want to see this game be a little bit more accelerated if we do want to see a win from the side of each player.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like with the rune runner out at the moment right now, does look like Maximiliano is in a bit of a threatening situation.
I think too, especially if Carl is able to bring out more gear and create a pretty massive rune runner, you know, with the Trinity Force, with the Guardian Angel, and then just being able to utilize the Forge of the Fluff battlefield to make this the biggest rune runner, and just make things a lot more difficult for Maximiliano to try to win.
Probably will be seeing a bit of a development turn from the side of Max. Turn 0 is coming up soon for both players.
I will say this has been an interesting game one, or round one, I should say, so far from both sides, from both players, able to take a win from each side. Definitely, both of them are known to be really good players from within the local TCG scene over here. Carl, very well known in the Flesh and Blood community, Maximiliano in the Magic community, and both of them have various play styles coming into this matchup. And yeah, there you go, Maximiliano just using this opportunity to build his board. He knows he has no way to get to the other battlefield. So he said, you know what, I have some time. I have the lead at the moment right now. Let me develop my opponent.
Right, and you know, having access to something such as a Bryn here, kind of just says no to an incoming punch first if Carl does have it. Yeah, we do have an access to this +2 runes from the side of Targons. So technically having 10 runes to
I'll do it. I'll do it. All right.
Right. So again, 8 runes on the side of KD here.
What do you think is the strategy now? Do you try to just build up a wall to hold, or just try to flood the board with as many units as possible to try to create point tempo?
I mean, I like this kind of extra draw. I mean, seeing that with this large amount of might from the side of Max, that he will be double conquering most likely. Sorry. So we will be seeing a double conquer from the side of
A
Max.
charm.
Charm being really good here and having no answers to this.
I'm not sure if Carl was able to mark that he scored that point. I think he should be up to 4 right now.
Yeah, I think that should be up to 4 points. Again, it is up to the players to.
Yeah, looks like he's pointing to it. He missed the trigger.
So it's up to the players to decide to have this game be correct. So you see on this point,
So it should be at 4 points.
it should be 4 points. So you
All
get
right.
the. I
Well-
ask the judge for you, Colin. Ask the judge. So yeah, just making sure. I mean, up to the players to have this correct game state.
One of the benefits of it being on streamed is that we can kind of help them in that, but ultimately it is their responsibility.
Correct. I think we do have a judge coming over to just make sure this game state is correct.
Judge is answering the situation right now. There
Yes,
you go.
It's funny that somehow players can remember the battlefield triggers but forget to score a point. Just goes to show how many things that are going on in a game of Riftbound, and so I don't fault these players at all for missing these things.
That is true. Yeah. And now 8 might coming on the side of Maximiliano. Disciplines, gets the
He's going for a draw here.
kills the Kaiser, besides that doesn't want to trigger the card draw. 2 card draws in this case. Gets that 1 card draw from Raven's ability.
I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of this discipline. You know, I mean, you kind of waste it because we already did have enough might to kill one of the Kaisers because we have the +2 from E. So going up +2 didn't really affect us. We kind of just do it to draw a card.
That is true. Yeah, it does make sense. Why? Maybe it's just for the additional card draw. Maybe he's looking for a specific answer, like the Trinity Force, like you mentioned, just to put it on that Rune Runner and just essentially score those points. But yeah, very interesting for Carl to play that out. I think he's already used 2 disciplines in this matchup already, which means that he's running out of pump spells, especially against someone like Draven. Those pump spells will make or breaks at this point. It's the round 1 concluded. I believe it is now on turn 0.
There's the Darius.
Turn 0? Turn 0.
So now on
And
turn
you can
0.
really,
Mhm.
sorry,
So
yeah,
you're going.
you can just really see their players are well aware of the time and are flying by through their turns, trying to think as much as possible, but also trying to squeeze out the most before time was called.
Right. And this Darius kind of giving us a big point tempo advantage. We are above in points, so KD kind of having to be forced to take both battlefields here. There's a hitting card.
What do you think that might be? It's definitely not fight or flight.
Definitely not fight or flight. We have switcheroo. We have answers that do kind of win us. Could just be another tide turner to move that Darius over. So a lot of answers that this could be.
3 runes open at the side of Maximiliano, which means that Spinning Axe is definitely a threat at this point right now. Both battlefields heavily contested at the moment right now by Maximiliano, or heavily defended, you could say. It'll be interesting to see what Carl will be playing over here.
Right. So Carl having to deal with a lot of, I mean, that heading card can be a lot of things. You know, if we invest too much might to kind of kill this Darius, we can just be blown up by a tide turn here. So
Yeah, difficult decisions by KD over here. Gentlemen, if you were in that position right now, what would be your game plan?
I mean, what we can do is if you have access to something like such as any kind of equipment, we can equip it onto the Rune Runner, and then we are beating him. So if we do get tide turner, we can still kind of use that equipment by using Forge of the Fluff to bring it over to the first mate. And then we're kind of at the mercy of, do we have punch first or not? So, and if it is a switcheroo, we definitely, if we have it, not so fast, kind of the card that we want to see.
So just taking a quick look at Maximiliano's deck list, he is running 3 copies of Tide Turner, and those are his only hidden cards.
Hmm.
And so we know that that's a Tide Turner that's being hidden, but Carl Dean, it could be anything at this point, except Fight or Flight.
Except Fight or Flight. Yep. Those bands coming in clutcher, and that Fight or Flight would be huge if you're Canadian.
Actually, Carl is debating whether this is which battlefield to kind of go into. Looking at his hand at the moment right now, he does have
We
a
do
few
see the
options
Trinity
available.
Force,
Yeah.
and I think there's the Desert's Call and the Aurelia as well.
Yeah, the
2 copies of
Aurelia as well.
Aurelia.
Not what you want to be seeing from this.
Don't forget, he does have the Mastery available as well, so he's able to put that out in the battlefield, push that damage as well. You can definitely tell Carl is stressed over here. He's trying to figure out which battlefield to kind of go into. Looks like he will be playing a card from his hand. It is a Trinity Force. Attaching that Trinity Force over to the Rune Runner, I would assume. Yeah. So
There's a line here that is kind of hard to see, where we do attach a Trinity Force onto. I mean, it's just so hard. Yeah.
there
Going for
we
a
go.
double attack.
Decides to move it to the other battlefield, not taking the risk of trying to figure out what that hidden card is. Probably a smart idea over here.
And this Tide Turner here is just huge. We have a Tide Turner it over. If we do have it.
What's interesting is in order to win this game, you'd need to win by 2, and at the current, as it currently stands, it would probably end in a tie if time was called, because Maximiliano, if he is only able to take control of this one battlefield, would go up to 6 on his next turn, and so, and there we see the Tide Turner.
Right? Again, that's investing so much money into that battlefield just to kind of waste it with that Tide Turner.
The Tide Turner gone, and potentially having the Yi up next turn as well to contest for the other battlefield that is open over there. But very interesting, Maximiliano decides to not contest in that battlefield, which means that he may not even have the Spinning Axe in hand, right?
I mean, if you do have the Spinning Axe, you want to use it on your turn, right? We have more runes, because we can't just move that Darius back and then ready him with his ability. But I do like this play from the side of Max, kind of saying, you know what, I'll just Tide Turner and then I'll kill you on my turn, because it's the last turn of the game.
That's true. And as it stands currently, there is a single point lead between these two. Looks like we will be going into a draw, unless Maximiliano has something that could get to the other battlefield.
Right, so that is currently 3, 5, I think that's 10 might on the side of Max. So again, if we have a way, I mean, Spinning Axe and any other card does fully trade. And we want to conquer. So we're looking for Spinning Axe. We're looking for any other might, any other way of getting might.
Could be another Darius play with the Spinning Axe and a Cleave.
Right, Cleave would be,
Yeah,
would be really good
that
here.
could be a threatening card to have as well.
So on Carl's side, that hidden card is most likely just a Zonya's Hourglass, and so nothing like a Desert's Call or Emperor's Divide to move units back.
Yep. Or guards. Or as the streamers used to say, guards.
I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, we're not. I don't think we have any other hidden cards that can be. I mean, Block is one, but I'm not sure any Yi players are running that nowadays. Does Max have the cards? This is all it is right now. Do we have the enough might to break this board, or do we not? If you're on the side of Max,
I believe well, the good news is table 1 seems to be the last game of this current round at the moment right now. As soon as this game is done, we're jumping straight to round 2.
I'm looking at his hand. I don't think we have it.
I mean, if you had the Kaisa accelerated and then another card, so you could bring Darius back and then have him readied, would that be enough to try to push over?
So the issue, so there'd be Kaisa, that'd be 4 might, and then you'd have Kaisa, which is 4 might, and we'd have Darius, which should be at 7 if we do have the ability to get him ready. Should be 11. I think that will be enough, right? Because we're only defending 410 right now.
We could see a quick look at his hand. I didn't necessarily see any of those cards that we mentioned. I think we see a couple of Ferris Forerunners.
Yeah. Lots of Maximiliano rune tap on this side. Spends 4 runes to bring out potentially what we could
7
think
runes.
is 7 runes. Okay.
Oh
Oh my God! Is it a 1,000-tail watcher?
I mean, this would be the card to see right now if you're on the side of Max. And then we have the
Unchecked power,
luxury to do
what?
that. Oh, unchecked power would be huge here. Beast from below.
He's from below. Once again, returning that Aurelia back to hand, but don't know if that would make sense considering he still has a mastery up as well and scores an additional point. But I do believe this is turn 3, if I'm not
This
mistaken.
should be the last turn. And I don't think we have. I mean,
It's not a
hidden.
hidden card
I think that's
over
game,
there.
right?
It should be game.
0, 1, 2. Oh, dude, Carl's turn is actually gonna be the last turn. It's 0, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, Carl's turn will be the last turn.
So the judges are in discussion right now to figure out whose turn is it right now.
I think
So it'll be 7 to 6. That's kind of the
7 to 6.
yeah,
you get this
that
fold-
Tornado Force is coming really in clutch right now.
Real plus, yeah, just ending the
just
game.
have to get
with a
one
draw.
more point to win this game, so this might be the tie. I mean, it seems like too much might.
He does have the mastery available, but would he have enough runes, tricks up his sleeves to get past it? And considering it's another tight turner that's hidden over there, it's definitely a bluff for Maximiliano's side to just kind of, tell him like, hey, I would like you to come into this battlefield and try to contest against it. Or would you survive is the question.
You're right. I mean, if you're at max,
There we
right?
go. Mastery comes out.
Obviously, I mean, even if you have a punch first, I don't think it is enough.
Ooh, switches
Force the
over,
fluff, yep.
force the fluff, uses it to put the
It is 8.
Trinity Force into him. He's got the on guard in hand as well.
You have double punch first. If you do, this would be huge.
So we're potentially
Something-
seeing 17, maybe 19 might from the Draven
Oh,
side.
not enough. Right. I think that is just a tie from both
It's
players.
a tie for both players over there. And very well played by both these players at the moment right now. Very interesting plays as well. And looks like it will be, we will be jumping straight into game 2. So, Athar, interesting game 1.
Right.
Interesting round 1, I should say, that we saw right now, Mastery against Draven. What do you think going forward? How do you think these both players will be placed against the current setup that we have right now? We did see a couple of Victors, we did see a couple of Kaisas. We do know that Mastery, yes, is a bit favored against both those decks. But what is your prediction going forward into this match?
I mean, I do know that we have a large amount of Ezreals, right? And that's definitely a deck that you don't see often. And it's one of those decks that people, if you to play Ezreal, you have to be really good at it. And if we see a player with that kind of knowledge, with that kind of background with the deck, we could see him winning. I know Victor is pretty well known in this community. Definitely one of the boogeymen. I don't think we've seen a single Aurora.
Yeah, no Aurora decks being played out over here. I guess just because the sheer number of removals, the sheer number of Akshans that you might
Right.
have into this deck. So it's definitely probably not a great idea to come into this matchup with an Aurora deck at the moment right now. But hey, we've seen Aurora decks work before in other regionals. We've seen Aurora decks work in our local skirmishes as well, but never anyone who's won with an Aurora deck at the moment
Right.
right now, right? So that's a very interesting tech where people do think that Aurora is definitely a threatening deck to play. Well, I should say Dazzling Aurora, not the Champion
Right,
Aurora,
yeah,
because that's not released yet.
That's going to be very annoying once the champion
Yeah,
comes out.
exactly, that is right. Yeah. But yeah, I don't think that card is much of a problem as what people would paint it to be at the moment, if I'm not mistaken. Just because the sheer number of counterplays you will have against this. So
I mean, Lyle, if you want to take this one, I want to hear your opinions on this.
Sure. I think part of the issue is I think the price point of Dazzling Aurora and to try to get a full play set is a little bit prohibitive. But I think also it's a bit polarizing in that Dazzling Aurora's playstyle, it doesn't appeal to some players. Some players want to feel like they have more control of the game rather than just, hope I get the Aurora in time and lose if I don't.
Exactly. It's always against the race, against the clock, as well as your opponent as well. We are going into game 2 straight, which means that we won't be doing a player interview for this round. But hopefully, next round we would have enough time that the game ends, and we will be seeing another round, or we will be seeing another possible player interview happening once this round is over. But yes, we are going into I believe we will be having our first Aurelia matchup for the day, played by Noda Shaba. Not sure what the opponent will be playing, but we'll be interested to see what they will be playing. Aurelia, currently in this meta right now. What is your opinion, guys? I still believe it's an S tier deck.
Oh no, I think Aurelia is the best deck in the format, most likely. I mean, the things it gets access to without much effort. I feel like having such access to movement, gears. It's one of those decks where it's really, really hard to beat. And we do see Nonosaba, definitely one of the up-and-coming stars of this set, having so much success with Aurelia. And this might be, he's gonna get his first skirmish win. It might be it. Now, Wuga, player I haven't not seen much of.
No, I've not seen in the local scene as well. He is a new face as well. But it will be interesting to see what deck is he playing at the moment right now. Just going through the deck list that we have at the moment.
Don't have it just yet, so we'll be surprised to even us.
I have it.
Aurelia.
Any guesses? Any guesses?
If it's a Wuga.
I want to say it's an Annie. Is it an Annie?
Annie on a Wuga? I mean, that's
you got one color, right?
So red or purple?
Or red. Could be a Kaisa.
Is it a Kaisa?
I'll lock
it. It is Kaisa.
There's a Kaisa.
Ooh.
Kaisa against Aurelia.
Now, this is a tough matchup if you're the Kaisa player here. Definitely one of those matchups where you don't want to see an Aurelia. All these deflects, all these kind of ways of just being above the might thresholds for your spells. I mean, this might be a bit of a massacre of this set.
Yeah, that is right. Noda Shaba, as you mentioned, he is no stranger to the Aurelia deck. He's been playing the Aurelia since the start of set 2. He's been in multiple skirmishes, finalists in multiple skirmishes. He is quite efficient in this deck, so he's very well got into this matchup. If I'm not mistaken, he's also part of your little training camp as well, huh? When it comes to these different not skirmishes, the training camps and the decks that you've done.
Not really, but like he's a close friend. He's a friend of mine, close friend of mine.
Yeah. I will admit I am also part of Athar's training camp as well. We do play a couple of set 3 games together. But yeah, it definitely is going to be an interesting match, and we can see that both the players are taking their seat. The Aurelia being shown with the Sunken Temple as the first battlefield of choice. What is your opinion about that, guys?
I mean, Sunken Temple, definitely one of the Aurelia gets to 5 really easily on its ready turn. So definitely one of the better ways of drawing. Spending 1 to draw is very good outside of Aurelia. Getting access to these pump spells when we do need them, very important, especially into deck like Kaisa, where it is so rough on your pumps. Needing access to it every single turn.
That is right.
If you're on the side of Kaisa, though, I mean, what 5 mice plus units are you running? Only the first runner. It only comes out on turn 6. Then on the turn when you have 6 runes. So we're not going to have too much access to this battlefield on the side of Kaisa, while Noda does have it. So
There's
you're
also
saying
the Thousand-Tailed Watcher accelerator
Of
that he
course.
could make use.
Right,
But even
yeah.
at that point in the game, it might be maybe not
That
as
is right.
impactful.
do agree.
You're right. Like I said, it is going to, I mean, like you said, guys, it's going to be an uphill battle for the Kaisa against this Aurelia. It's going to be a very interesting matchup to see how this works. I will say, what is your opinion about Aurelia for the next set? Yes, the Protect the Queen was a very effective strategy for set 2. But considering set 3 with the number of LeBlancs and the removals that you might have coming into this new set, especially with the Rengars as well. What is your prediction in terms of how Aurelia will be standing? Let's start with you, maybe, Lyle. What do you feel about this?
I think the ambush mechanic presents a really interesting way to interact with Aurelia now. Being able to just play units either on attack or on defense kind of just blows the math just wide open. Instead of having to guess now, okay, how much might can I go? Whether you're the Aurelia player or playing against the Aurelia player, now you have options to just large might swings, and so it should be very interesting to see.
I mean, on the side of Aurelia, we do see some good pieces to add to the core. I know we're getting a new battlefield, not sure the name of, but whenever you target a unit with a spell, you get +1, which, you know, that is a double proc with on the side of Aurelia. And I mean, a deck such as LeBlanc likes to stack a lot of might on one field. Aurelia, I mean, Notorious kind of just hunts these kind of decks down. We saw with Miracle where even if you set up a really big board, we do have enough might to kind of push on through. And we do have, although we do have one big weakness now on the side of Aurelia, which is the Elder Dragon.
Yeah.
Right? Elder Dragon is just saying, okay, I don't care how big your Aurelia is, you'll have to trade it every single time and go for a Conqueror. And I'm not sure if Aurelia has enough ways of reviving, you know, with GA, with Zonias to kind of match this Elder Drake. But again, it might be one of those times where it is comes out a turn too late, and Aurelia would have won the game before the Elder Drake even comes out.
That is right, yeah. And here we see a classic opening by Kaisa, getting that Raven Bloom student on board. Playing the Tide Turner as turn 1 play. Looks like Nilo Shiva did not have that Guardian Angel, which would have been the most optimal play to have. But nevertheless, having a unit on board is definitely helpful over here. Moving into also the very interesting battlefield choice by Kaisa, going with the Wild Mouse Lair immediately, trying to lock that Aurelia into that battlefield if she ever goes in over there, and just straight up sniping her with some of spells that they would get.
I mean, Vilmos being one of the best ways to kind of deal with Aurelia. If they don't have the boost of swiftness, they are just kind of stuck there for the longest time, and it is very hard to not only maintain point tempo with the Aurelia deck if you don't have access to that ganking, if it's stuck in the Vilmos. Especially because we are going first on the side of Kaisa, so we do have to eventually conquer this battlefield too.
Tapping to play the Falling Star immediately,
Very early,
very early,
aggressive.
getting rid of that Tide Turner, which is interesting play. I guess it's just to make sure he doesn't have any units on board. Just trying to end this game as early as possible.
Oh, and there's the hopeful.
Playing the hopeful, yeah, would make sense then to go with that play. Yes, may not be the most optimal target to target the Tide Turner with, but I would definitely prefer going over that Aurelia. But hey, you know what? It works, right? So now you're forced to expose your Aurelia early on if you have to play without any protection. But that might not be Noodle Shaba's play. But let's.
Now, if you're on the side of the Aurelia player here, are you just slamming this Aurelia out on this turn, saying you might not have another falling start? And I think it's just saying no, saying, you know what, I'm just going to play this a bit slower, play Aurelia on the next turn. Do we have the gear to kind of allow for this kind of play?
Drops 2. Here it comes, the Guardian Angel. Yeah, this would definitely enable Aurelia to come out now in a much more safer manner. Goes up to 2 points for holding. But Kaisa is also developing a bit of a board here already. Got the runes available.
GA coming up down like 1 turn too late, some might say. But again, if you're on the side of Aurelia, you do want to see this boost of swiftness to kind of say no to this Vilmos. But if you're in Kaisa, you're in actually a very good position.
Yeah.
Conquering Vilmos going up to 3 points. Thinking about going back with that
The student, yeah, would make sense. Why let it die for free?
And you know, if you're on the side of Aurelia, I think just do a development turn, get that Kaisa ready.
Taps 3 to bring out Electro Yordle
to draw
Initial
1.
card draw.
Now, this is actually a pretty good play from the side of Luga here, noting that this Aurelia can only go up to, if I remember correctly, 4 to 6, right?
Yeah.
Saying, you know, I will kind of stop this 6 push if you go for it, kind of keep my units alive, force you to use more resources, and I still have 2 rooms open. Kind of, no, I like this play from the side of Beluga.
Yeah.
And two, the lecturing Yordle has tank, which makes it just a little bit more awkward to get through the hope Noxus hopeful.
Yeah. And forget about that. The lecturing Yordle does have
It's the Hextech Ray.
The Hextech Ray. Oh, although I would have maybe reserved the Hextech Ray for the Aurelia if it ever pops out, right? But you know, it kind of puts Nulashaba in an advantageous position where it might be able to draw a card from that, which probably gives more tools for the Aurelia as well. And like you both mentioned, he has the ability to create a good swing.
Right. I mean, I would have loved to see this Aura kind of staying alive here if possible, but let's see Aurelia.
Is he going to now activate the efforts? One rune open from Awuga's side. What are the chances that's probably another Hextech Ray?
Even it's not enough to kind of do anything with this. This might just be a. Yep, there it is. Going down 2 runes to accelerate this Aurelia onto the Sunken Temple.
Cycles both the runes. Goes up to, like you mentioned, 6 might at the moment right now.
That is at 6 might.
7.
Actually, 7 mites, right? Yeah. You get the plus for choosing with GA.
Against 6.
That's 5, and then GA is 1. Then choosing with GA is
Super fine. Bringing it down to 6 might. Ooh. That's a play. Definitely does seem like he. So to 6.
That's a
Still has
6.
2 runes open from the Shiva side.
There's
There's
the
the
on
on
guard.
guard. Yeah. Ex Queen. There you go.
We do have to go down a rune for that signify. We do draw a card. It's not the end of the world, but there it is. Now stuck in this Valmont for the foreseeing future.
You can see the Neymar figurine being popped into the scoreboard right now with Nilashiva's little mascot there. So,
If you're Aurelia right now, I mean, do we have enough units to kind of just move over to the Sunken Temple, or are we just waiting for this boots to come out? What are your thoughts, Live?
I think whichever one you're able to draw into first. Obviously, having the boots is ideal because then you can just get out of the Wild Maws and then retreat. And so I'm not actually too sure what other units Odashaba is running. I mean, if he has the Stellar Corn to be able to see some more card draw, I think he would also be okay with that.
yeah, and to your point, I think this is probably kind of a smart play from Olga where he wanted to maybe bait the Aurelia into this Wild Mouse lair to try to finish it off. But do keep in mind that the GA is still attached as well, so which means that the GA would then be used to send the Aurelia back to base. But then there's an opportunity to maybe finish him off with the ability of Foreign Star or any other spells that may be able to target the Aurelia as well. So for now, the Aurelia is trapped over there, right?
There it is. Just a Kaisa being
So being used without
on
the
the board.
accelerate.
not accelerated. That's fine. I feel like we are going up to 4, which is exactly where we want to be. That kind of even tempo.
Yeah.
We love to see asks out of these aggressive decks.
Once again, puts out the scout.
I think that's
Passes the turn without scoring, conquering the battlefield with the active Ravenloom still. Very interesting play from Olga. Maybe just trying to develop that board to get rid of that area somewhere or the other.
I mean, if I'm on the side of Kaiser here. I just want to go up to 4. Being on even points is very important. I mean, at worst, we just kind of lose the our 2 job to boots. But I mean, we're eventually gonna lose that 2 job either way, and losing him to go up to 4 is kind of a worthwhile investment.
I do agree.
And we did just see a full pass from the side of Aurelia.
Meaning there is no boots being played at the moment right now. That earlier still stuck in that Wild Mouse lair. Very critical point for Raul at the moment right now. This is a make or break turn for him.
And
Let's find out.
imagine if we were at 5 points right now.
Yeah, do you feel like now with hindsight that was maybe too passive and he could have just gone that point for free?
I definitely think so,
I mean,
yeah.
definitely. I mean, think about it. He would have definitely played the boots earlier on in the game if he had the chance to. So being able to say that and say, you know what, probably you don't have the boots, right? I mean, I do like sending this kind of that 2 jump over now to get this 4 points. But remember, a very big win con from side of Kaisa is something like the time warp.
Yeah.
Because Aurelia does struggle with defending two battlefields at one time.
That's
They
true,
do
yeah.
just have one battlefield at once and kind of just gank over here and there.
Yeah.
So if we're ever at if we're ever at 7 points, we do just time warp to win the game. It's very hard for Aurelia to defend both.
I do agree in
Battlefields
that
at the same
sense,
time.
yeah. And the only other spell that Nudishaba could use to counter that time warp is the hard bargain,
Right.
which I don't know if Nudishaba is running it on his main board. If he is, then that's great. There we go. The Darius out right now. Would we see a cleave being played from his side? Never mind. No, he passes the turn once again, being very passive, being very safe with this turn. Nudishaba now draws a card.
Gentlemen, there is no time warp in this Kaisa list.
Ooh.
And so being in theory, if you did have the time warp, you could maybe say, okay, you can be a little bit more passive. But
Ride the
now with
wave.
that information, I'm not too sure.
By the wing being played by Aurelia.
Finally leaving that battlefield.
This smells like this is trouble for Kaisa at this moment right now. With that Kaisa, you could say potentially out of jail at the moment right now, free to go wherever she wants to. Scores a point, triggers the battlefield if I'm not mistaken as well to draw that additional card.
Still waiting on to see if he triggers it or not. I mean, I do love Awuga just playing passively last turn, just getting out into this Darius and then not giving Noto the chance of using the 7 runes that he kind of left up. So making him just waste 7 runes while he just gets out of free Darius. I mean, they're still even on points. And just look at the difference in board. We have 3 units on the side of Awuga. Just one Aurelia that will just eventually get stuck if we kind of think about going to this Valmos.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and moves the Aurelia back to base, safer than ever. Now, Olga in a very difficult situation where he might be forced to see whether he's going to be running a potentially using a falling star just to get rid of that guardian angel, which is obviously keeping this Aurelia quite safe at the moment right now. A lot of runes open from Olga's side. Gets his units ready.
I mean, if there was a time for a time warp, it would be now, but I don't think we have it, right?
That's
As he
true,
said.
Yeah, if he did have it, then I would immediately call a judge.
It's very interesting by Nudishaba not leaving his Aurelia into that base to defend it, to potentially avoid this time warp sequence of events, right? Unless he's got another Ride the Wind in his hand that he could play.
I mean, if you're on the side of Noto, we are scared of exactly Watcher into battles, but we have a lot of runes up. So I kind of do just want to see this GA being used aggressively. Maybe being afraid of something such as the Rocket Barrage.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if many Kaisers do plays, and there's a
Thermal
Thermal
Beam
Beam
being
in
played.
main.
Just for that one Guardian Angel, which is smells like Auga's a bit desperate at the moment right now. Keep in mind, this could be a hard bargain, right? If Nudishaba is running that card in his hand.
Right, but again, now with hindsight, imagine if that Aurelia was on the battlefield right now, and we might just lose it.
Yeah,
Right,
I
so-
do agree, yeah.
Heads up, a good play from side of Noto, just kind of seeing the threat that might be gear disruption.
Yeah. And that is why these players are on the table and I am not, gentlemen. I would have kept that idea there, but this is why I've quit my days of playing the game and now I've stuck to cast it.
I mean, to be fair, I mean, it's still not a bad play if you have stuff like Defiant Dance,
Exactly.
kind of say
Yeah.
no to this incoming push. You know, Aurelia can get up to these really high mites, especially with about that 7 runes up. So it's technically, that's infinite amount of mites. I have to call it with Aurelia.
I mean, nothing is scarier to me as a player facing an Aurelia than an Aurelia with 7 open runes.
And here, again, not going to 6 points. Oh, no, we are going to 6
Yes,
points.
yeah,
Okay, hold
there
on.
we go.
Good. So now up to 6 points. Now here's the issue, right? If you double conquer Fnatic Aurelia, your Aurelia is now stuck in Biomods, and you can't stop your opponent from holding to win the game. If you just do a single conquer, your opponent goes to 7, but then again, you don't know it. I mean, if it's side of Noto, there's no way of knowing, right? But you do just get time warp to win the game.
That's right, yeah.
So very tough
9
position.
runes open from Aurelia side. She is at 5 might mark at the moment right now. 2 runes open from Kaisa's side. Aurelia moves into the battlefield, tries to get that think he's really potentially, if he does end up conquering it, he does have the ability to tap one rune to draw a card with
Mhm.
Sunken Temple.
I mean, we definitely will be seeing this conquer. At worst, we have a incoming smoke stream,
Smoke screen.
but then
it could
even that,
be-
that's a deflect. And we
Yeah.
have 9 runes, I think. Right?
That's right. Yeah, he's got 9 runes up there. Lets the Kaisa go, gets to that 5 points. Is he going to trigger the Sunken Temple? Decides to
Yep,
do that.
that's
There you
trigger
go.
it.
Yep. 8 runes still open. At think he's missed the score point as well.
No,
or-
he's up to 5. That is
Is it
correct.
5? Yeah.
And we do want to see exactly one card and one card only, and that is
What do I do it?
yeah. I mean, not really would be good too, but Boost of Swiftness is the card to see right now. I'm not seeing it,
Yeah,
What are we
Aurelia
trying to
needs
do?
to get some shoes on.
right?
Yeah.
And
He
I
does tap the rune.
Oh,
He
there's
charms the areas into that battlefield. Now this is threatening. Keep in mind, Volga could play the cleave, which could bring the Darius up to 7 might, if I'm not mistaken, or 8.
so it'd be 7 might, but we do have an 8 might Aurelia, so it won't be enough.
It wouldn't be
just
enough
yet.
to kill it off, but unless he's got a thermal beam, or sorry, he's got a Hextech ray, which is a 1 cost, I believe.
Yeah, so
and,
Hextech, I mean, you'd have to pay deflect, and
yeah,
we probably do have the answer inside of Nodo, so just letting this one go. We are going up to 7 next turn. Do we have anything else we want to play from inside of Nodo?
Yeah, it seems like Olga would be in lead at this. Yeah, passes the turn over to Olga.
Yep, that's it.
5 runes open from.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, never mind.
Oh,
Where's the
Finder
meditate?
Center, not a card you see very often. I think, again, trying to find this one card, which is this Boost of Swiftness. Just making sure the correct amounts of runes are being played. You have 5 runes up. That's enough to stop any incoming play. Remember, if you're on the side of Nodo, you have to account for Watcher. Definitely the card to see to play around.
Yeah,
And there's
passes
this
the
passing turn.
over to the.
So on 7 points now, 1 point away, 1 conquer away from winning this game. And Kaisa does use this battlefield advantage with his Valmos to kind of win this unwinnable matchup, as people might call it.
That early lead that you did have, it's definitely translated a lot better. Keep in mind, he could have maybe won the game if he did conquer with the Raven Boomstone earlier, wouldn't he?
Yeah, that 1 extra point could have been it. Again, I mean, that same rhythm is kind of holding down the Valmos the
That
longest
is true.
time.
Yeah, that is true.
We have 5 runes. Now, 5 runes is enough to kind of beat a Watcher, but I'm not sure if it can be a Watcher with interaction. Definitely not.
Be a taps
4 rune
four-
turn. Ooh. Oh,
but
that does
that
not
wouldn't
work.
because that's not at a base.
It's not a base.
That
right,
would be
yep.
an invalid play. Maybe a judge would be called. Oh,
I think this is just saying that it can be played. Oh, that's a
there we
Void
go.
Seeker. Yep. So still having to deflect, right?
play the deflect. Play the.
We are kind
does
of baiting
draw-
something out. We
yeah,
do
does
have
draw the card if I'm not mistaken. If it goes through.
right. We have Defy. I'll just set
Oh,
Discipline.
wow. Yeah.
That is a 7 might unit right now. So not enough for Uga to kill just yet, but we got the Stupefy in hand, I'm pretty sure.
The damage does go through. It currently does have 4 points of damage if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, it does have port. So essentially it's a 3 might unit for this upcoming combat that Uga might try and capitalize on. There's just 1 Hextech Ray, 1 Stupefy away from just kind of winning.
So Stupefy. What other options does he have, Lyle, that he could potentially take out this earlier with?
I mean, we mentioned the Stupefy in hand. There's also the Hextech Ray and the combination of the Plundering Poro as well to try and clean that up.
Instead of Falling Star. But no, it's
Ooh,
another.
second one.
This could smell trouble for Nuda Shaba if he's not able to counterspell this or take it home. Would this be the game? He's got 1 card in hand. He
Yes,
plays a
Defy.
Defy. Takes that counterspell back from his hand. Just 4 runes open. It looks like Auga is in a bit of a difficult situation right now. Is he going to tap that 1 rune to get that Stupefy into board? draw that extra card that he may need to just kind of close out this game. He
And
is sitting
then
at
I think-
lethal right now. Taps one.
There is a
places
super
goodbye.
fine, right? Now we are. This Poro will now trade if given a chance to.
If you're on the side of Kai'Sa, what else are you digging for at this point?
Has to be the falling star, I think. Needs to put the falling star out.
I think honestly, there's a defined ban.
Bans, yeah, this is where you think you get the queen, but there's no way around this.
I mean, so not the end of the world. We can only go up to 7 if on the side of Noto here.
It's true, yeah, but a lot of resources being thrown from Awuga's side. Plays a Ravenbloom student into the base, passes the turn. It's really fine. Now, if he does have the boots, it's more trouble for Awuga. But
And that turn is the classic example of why I fear Aurelias who have that much runes open.
I do agree, yeah.
We saw they rarely gain about, what was it, like 8 might that turn from those 2 cards. Definitely one of the strengths of the deck, and why it's definitely the deck to beat this format, and why we've seen the Kai'Sa kind of struggle with it all kind
Now's a
of
good
game.
time to also maybe look at the number of Kai'Sas. Aurelia splits with is around 21% of today's tournament. Around 6 decks, 6 Aurelia pilot caves you can say,
Right.
that are playing. It's followed closely by Master Yi, which is around 17. So I know this is probably not the matchup to talk about right now, but Aurelia versus Master Yi. Who do you guys have your money on? How do you think this would go?
I mean, I'm pretty biased on this, so Lyle, if you want to take a first stab at this.
I think it ultimately depends on the players who are piloting it. I think if it's a equal skill level, I think it could go either way. But I feel like depending on if players are practiced, they know the tricks to be able to edge out and to win in that scenario.
Right.
So a little bit of a cop out answer.
Right. Yeah. I'll be honest. I mean, to be fair, I'll probably give the same answer. This beating Aurelia takes a very specific playstyle, which is very aggressive trading. You have to without a fight or flight. The pump spells that Aurelia has is definitely a resource that you kind of can extinguish with the correct plays. With the +2 on defense from side of Yi, you can kind of force Aurelia to use pump spells for something as small as 1 might increments and kind of losing value. So it's all about does he have the development, have the way to force these aggressive trades and kind of kill and whittle down the Aurelia's hand before he can, while still preserving his.
Yeah.
So definitely a skill matchup between the 2 decks. Now we see actually what I was really afraid of from the side of Noto.
Goes in for the conquer, but obviously doesn't get the point. Draws a card instead. Is there an opportunity for him to answer this already? Or is it going to be game 1 for Shiba?
And this could just be the hold from Noto to win the game. We have to get rid of this.
Is it the Watcher? Is it the Watcher?
Look at the amount of
Looks like
runes.
it's the Watcher. 2.
Aurelia has 8 runes up, and I think Awuga just tapped out 7.
Exactly.
Catherine
Ray.
Ray.
Now this will deflect everything. His runes are gonna go bye-bye.
Is it the hard bargain?
I mean, not so fast. We'll just end the game
Not
right
so
now.
fast
He
as
will
well,
lose his
yeah.
entire rune stack, as we talked about.
Yeah, there you
Yep.
go. That's here comes the hard
hard
bargain.
bargain.
Looks like we're gonna go to game 2 with Olga. Very close game, very
Tragic,
close game.
tragic,
Just
yeah.
one misplay, I think, that could have maybe kind of cost him the game, but goes to game 2 at this moment right now. With that, gentlemen, I will leave you two to discuss while I get a cup of coffee. Why don't you guys kind of give us the rundown of game 2 and what do you think Olga should change in his main board and side board?
Lyle, I think you want to start off.
Yeah, just going through the list right now and
All right. So I think you either cut out or you're not talking. So I'll kind of just say it.
Sorry, go
You-
ahead.
Right. So again, we did not have a way to really force a lot of cards for like all of the pump spells from the side of Aurelia. Not having access to the Dariuses, to the Kai'Sas, to the Hopeful Marauders having these units, not having access to them, kind of forces us to use our spells to bait out these buff spells. But again, we saw stuff like Defy, stuff like any kind of pumps. Not only are they really good for the side of Aurelia, Discipline, giving a card back, Defy, just completely negating the card, but also being very taxing on our runes on the side of Kaisa, having to go down one rune every single time we ping this Aurelia. I definitely did like the Therma Beam kind of being used to get rid of the GA. Again, we didn't have the kind of the push to take advantage of that. We didn't. Noto seeing the danger of this gear removal, keeping the Aurelia in base when it needed to be. I think a smart play from his side. I do want to see how both players kind of navigate around this matchup, knowing what they know. We do see the hard bargain in main. We do see the Therma Beam in main. But these big kind of game, kind of tempo flips, I will call them, where you kind of flip the game on its head. Now being shown, I want to see how these players kind of navigate their future turns with those things in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with Nodoshaba, like considering maybe sideboarding the other Vex cheer list, I know he already has one in main, and so adding two just to make playing those spells just a little bit more costly and just draining on the resources of the Kaisa. And for the side of Kaisa, looking to bring in both copies of Brin Here Thundersong just to limit those interactions, I think is definitely a plan moving forward.
I mean, Brin Here definitely one of those decks, especially when we did see him leave up, massive amount of runes, 7, 8, 6 runes consistently. One of those times where, if your opponent does leave out 9 runes and we do have the Brin Here, we either A, force them to use all their pump spells at a very inconvenient time, or B, we just straight up lose our Aurelia. So definitely one of those cards we do want to see from the side of Kaizo.
Yeah, and I think the playing of it will just be this large game of chicken of just to see, like, who's going to flinch first. Of are you going to burn all your pump spells now, or are you okay to lose your Aurelia on board?
Now I do feel like with these Vex coming in, losing Aurelia is not the biggest deal because we do have a secondary win con with the Vex. So it could be the chance that we kind of see this Aurelia being used more aggressively, knowing that we do have other ways to win our game with the Vex Chillis.
Yeah. And I think on the side of Kaisa, looking at the battlefields now, we see the Targon's Peak for Aurelia and the Arena's Greatest. Do you think trying to push the point tempo and trying to just put more pressure on the Aurelia of just saying, hey, I can outscore you, I can clear your board out faster than you can score points.
Right, and definitely, I mean, Targon's Peak going sec. Was that Targon? I think that's a Aspirin's Climb instead of really.
Yes, it is Aspirin's Climb.
And we'll have that. We'll have production come back and fix that in a second.
So it's a neutral game right now.
Right, yeah, definitely. We did see this kind of in set 1, having these two battlefields come out at the same time. Aurelia's seeing that they're gonna be slower on the board than the opponent. Kaisa also seeing that they are faster than the Aurelia, so both kind of just using their battlefields to extend or shorten the game. I mean, in this case, kind of balancing out, neutralizing both battlefields. So kind of a vanilla game.
Yeah, but I think also just that turn of being able to go second and play that find your center, I think that feels really good as the Aurelia player.
That's right. I think we're going to have production kind of fix this eventually. But yeah, as you said, getting this Kaisa out early, not having the 1 drop or 2 drop on the side of Noto. I mean, slow game as is, having our first board developments be on turn 3, not what we want to see from both players.
It's interesting, both players missed the Arena's Greatest trigger. So I'm not sure if that was a mistake or intentional.
I think maybe they're just going. I think they're saying, "Oh, one's 1, let's keep it as."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Technically illegal, but we'll let it slide.
Hey, I mean, as long as a judge wasn't called, right?
I think
still
there
an 8-point
was an
game.
understanding on board, so it's fine.
There's the falling star. I mean, here's the issue now. Now that we have 2 runes, we can see a not so fast coming from the side of Aurelia. Now, do we have any way of saving this Stella? If we do kind of just win the game on the spot, I feel. But we don't. No answers.
Yeah, and that's a huge swing for Kaisa. Already up on points and just clearing the board.
I do know that the Celicorn is probably one of the biggest things that Kaisa struggled with. Because if this Celicorn does go live, we do have access to draw, so we have access to our pumps and our counter spells. And at the rate, I think
We just have the judges just confirming.
Yeah, just making sure. Yeah, I think keeping it at just for clarity's sake. Yeah, just to have the points there. So it will be a 9-point game. So again, just to clarify game state, I think both players did understand both battlefields, but that's for viewership experience.
Just got the confirmation that from both sides that they did not miss the trigger. It's just that because it was going to Aspirant's Climb, they were essentially thinking it cancels out each other. However, yeah, just for the viewers at home and everywhere else, just thought it would make it a little bit easier to show that on screen.
Fine dance used early. Oh, not having a better pump spell. Just wanting to get on this battlefield as quick as possible. So going down 2 runes now.
Well, this is something I always wanted to discuss, maybe with experienced Riftbound players such as you guys. When do you decide to recycle what color runes, right? Especially when you're using Aurelia's ability. I always go with like whatever majority that I have. So if I have 5 greens and 3 purples, I would most likely recycle the green. But what's your thought process going into this?
I mean, with Aurelia, your biggest source of using purple runes is your boots and rebuke, right? And I mean, most likely, statistically, you will be seeing another purple runes coming up soon because of the way your runes kind of turned out, having more greens than purples. So, I mean, if you're on the side of Nodo, I think just having 2 runes, 2 purple runes, just a bluff, rebuke, right, is all you need, because I don't think you're ever spending more than 3 purple runes on one turn, specifically, right? Define Dance, you can choose either. And on the side of the green runes, you have very important things such as your counter spell, right? So you do want to have at least 1, 2, or 3 green runes available to use your counter spells to bluff wind wall, to bluff these big plays. And speaking of big plays, I think we might be seeing the Watcher come out.
Watcher being thrown out at this part of the game. This is a bit of a threatening situation to be in at the moment right now.
Now, Watcher is only at 7, and there's a Ride the Wind.
Huge save that gets that extra point as well.
And we can't even conquer it with. We can't even trade with the Yordle. I think.
The Yordle number, yeah.
No, it'd be 3. I think it'd be 3. I think it is 3 to 3. So
yeah, 3 to 3. That's right. Yeah, he gets to score that point.
And there's no Kaisa doesn't have any other runes up to be playing the Bellows Breath or anything like that to try and pick that Aurelia off. So the Ride the Wind, a huge card right now.
I'll be honest, I might have actually liked seeing the Aurelia being played back into base, because I'm not sure if Abuba does see this or not, but we do have a very clean trade with the Yordle going into Aurelia here. I think not going for it.
Yeah, it looks like
Playing it safe, I feel like, but I did want to see this Yordle being pushed over. I guess deciding not to, deciding to keep him in base for a future turn.
now. Maybe let's do a quick deck list check. Lyle, how many rides the winds does Nudashaba have, and how many boots does he have?
There are 3 copies of Boots, but we haven't seen any so far. And there are 2 copies of Ride the Wind.
Okay. I do know one was used already. Bring that phase.
Actually, well, it's actually so we're only going to 4, so we do want to kind of conquer this on the side of Aurelia. I think any discipline, any kind of buff spell would do it. Not having it.
Very interesting choice of leaving that lonely Poro over there, potentially get that card draw, obviously. But now the question is it worth protecting that lonely Poro just so that you can go up to that extra 5 points and prevent Uruga getting that point lead?
So, I mean, I think this. So, I think this kind of play indicates what Noto has in his hand. Not going over to the battlefield from the side of Aurelia
Yeah.
kind of shows me that maybe we don't have enough pumps to justify using one to kill and then using one to save the Aurelia next turn. So this might just be a fair corner being used for this turn. This might just be one of those times where if you're on the side of Aruga, you probably can see that portal is only there to draw us more cards because the cards in our hand are not it. Could just be a free conquer on the side of Aruga.
Spell being used, decides not to use,
There's the hex
not to go into his battlefield or try to trade the Poros.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we just don't see a pump spell being used here because again, if we had the pump spell, we would have used it on the Aurelia last turn. Yep,
Yeah,
there
there
it
you
is.
go. That dies. Card.
Do you think that
Now,
the Poro
sorry.
was there just to justify getting more card draw and just to be able to see more cards and to try to dig out?
I believe so, yeah. That's
do
the
believe.
whole purpose of just leaving that Poro there, saying that, hey, if you want to get over me, you got to waste a few resources, which, the Aurelia has successfully been able to do that with Auga. He's currently tapped out of runes. He's got one rune open, right? Which kind of gives the Aurelia now a chance of saying, hey, do I go for the easy conquer, get that, but then potentially face. I mean, he's going to face into the Thousand Tail Watcher regardless at this point, right? So he's going for the easy win, goes up over there, gets that victory.
And this is what we want to see from the side of Kaiso. Think about the amount of runes we just wasted. That was 5 runes last turn. I think probably more runes previous in the game. Having these floated runes do nothing is exactly what Kaiso wants to see. Being up in board advantage. There is the boots. Right? This might be huge. They have to kill both battlefields. But remember, that is Fred's Forerunner. So even though we are going to kill it, we're not going to reduce the amount of might on the side of Aluga's board.
Now, gentlemen, what is your preferred method of dealing with Ferris Forerunner? Do you prefer just sending it back to hand or dealing with the aftermath of those mech tokens in base?
Well, if it was up to me, I would ban the card, but no, I'm kidding. Yeah, definitely just kind of making sure if I can send it back to hand. That way you have to waste more runes to kind of bring it back into the board again. And considering it doesn't have any accelerate mechanic at the moment right now, so it does kind of help with the idea of just trying to, mitigate that damage, right? So you use it. First Forerunner is always going to be, I think, a staple card, but it's always able to replace itself on death, and essentially splitting itself into 2 ways. But here we go. We saw the trigger. I might have missed where the
The Watcher got charmed over into the battlefield.
Okay. So this is huge for Nozoshima at this point right now. He's in the driver's seat, kind of pivoting this forward, just taking it all the way home, playing the charm into that Thousand Tail Watcher was a game changer in my opinion. Doesn't look like there's any other options unless there's another Cathian Rain, but keep in mind he still has, as Lyle, you've pointed out rightfully so, that an Aurelia with open runes is much scarier than Aurelia herself, right? So it's definitely a big threat.
We have the cards on the side of Aluga. We have one more turn. This game's going up to 9 points, right? So we can kind of play it slow. We're still 2 turns away from the side of Aluga to win this game because we're only on 5, go 7, go 9. Noto can go up to 8 next turn with the ganking. Both players still having a few more turns before the end of the game. I will. That's probably what we're gonna see from the side of.
Is there a
Omega.
cleave to bring that Darius up? If so, that's going to be huge. One rune tapped, recycle. What's it going to be? It's going to be the
Stupefy.
Stupefy to fish for that cleave, probably.
I mean, that's got our thing ready. We are up to 5 might only. Again, this is Aurelia we're talking about. We have 5 runes up. We have enough cards in hand to kind of beat this push if you do go
Yeah,
for it.
goes in with the 7 might Darius.
13
with
might.
the 13 might.
Oh,
in
10?
board. 10 might.
10 might.
To that.
And we have GA
10,
too.
10 my final
Oh,
answer.
13.
No,
13 might,
13.
Yeah. Well, technically, that's.
Oh, and there it is. Yep.
Is that the Arise or the Guard?
Emperor's Divide. Moving our unit back. And just, I mean, look at this. We now not only do we use all of our cards to go back, but also we're on the wrong rune tempo now. We're on 6 points where we definitely want to be on something like the 7 right now.
Yeah, I do agree. It's looking a bit difficult for the Kais at the moment right now. With all his runes tapped out, he's going to do his one final play. Is it the Falling Star? It looks like it's going to be the Falling Star.
So that was his face. Pumps off from the side of Aurelia. Emperor's Divide does give it +1.
Shouldn't the Kaisa be tapped out?
We've only played 8
It's just the
runes. I think it should be
Stupefy.
fine. Yes, Stupefy. There's a hard bargain.
Ability, so
So Kaisa ability for Stupefy.
yeah,
And 4 runes because of 1 star. And then 1 rune because of Darius.
right, yeah.
So, huge amount of runes going down.
Yeah, 7.
And you also can just wait right here if you're ready here. And if you have the pumps to kind of push for the push, you should go for it. But if you don't, it's not the worst position to be in.
Taps all his that's coming out.
Mind Splitter.
Now this is
Room too short. Oh, getting rid of the Kaisa actually. Keeping it there. Right. So we catch you up.
a smart play by Nolishiba. Like the options are you're gonna very well piloted by Nolishiba. Very well piloted by Nolishiba. Let's see if we can get him in for an interview so we
Yeah,
can kind of
we
get his
have enough
stats
time
on.
for it. So yeah. So again, what really well. I mean, well played by side of Aluga, trying to. The interview so far. I mean, if you're Noto, being up 2-0, being kind of that one game away, being kind of that one game away from securing your position in day 2. So I mean, if you're on the side of Noto, you're happy as one can be, especially seeing one of the 2 Kaisas inside this tournament.
Forward with this competition. Look, we all knew you were a day one Aurelia fan, right? You've been playing that deck for the longest. You've reached a lot of skirmishes in the semis, the finals. Is this your tournament? Do you think you've got this? Is this the tournament that you're gonna go in? If so, what are your thoughts? How do you feel? What do you feel like is the biggest competition that you have to go over, the biggest hurdle that you have to face over?
I feel like today especially, there's a lot of Aurelias and a lot of Yis. And one person that has gone back to Yi, Colin, I feel like he's a big threat right now. And he's played Aurelia for the past maybe 2 skirmishes. So he knows the ins and outs, he knows the cards, he knows how to play around it. He knows what plays you play when you have what card. So I feel like that might be a hurdle. So I'm excited to see him in the top cut, hopefully. And yeah.
Fair enough. And sorry,
I mean, seeing him in the top cut, already having that confidence that, you know what,
Oozing.
I'm already going to go.
aura.
This day 1 is already done. You know, I'm 2-0. I'm going to make the top cut. I mean, I having seen your growth in this set, going from a new player to this kind of skirmish finalist 2 times too. I mean, hopefully this might be your your last win. I think what a wonderful way to kind of finish off your arc in set 2. But now on this set 2.5, now losing access to parts of this fight or flight and your important battlefields, how did you kind of adapt your deck to fit this kind of set 2.5, I call it, that we're currently in?
I feel like, especially because now we lost a lot of fight or flight and card draw, so playing the Protect the Princess makes it's a bit harder now. So trying to adjust and adding some more units, like you saw the Mind Splitter coming down. I had it for a while, but he had a lot of runes, so I was scared of dropping it, tapping out, and him just board wiping. So I feel like adding those units and some more small units to be able to play the early game without having to drop Irelia on turn 2 with a GA and just having her die maybe 2 Call the Weeks, especially into the Victor matchup. Yellow is very strong now, both bans. And yeah, I feel like there's some more things people play. There's Find Your Center. It's pretty good for card draw. Stellacorn, trying to protect it, is also a really good way to yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. And just final question, again, you don't have to reveal the strategy at the moment right now, but do you have the right answers in your side or your main board against the potential threats like you mentioned, the Yees, the Azirs potentially as well? You've got the, I mean, yes, you went against a Kaisa and you did perform, but you also have the counterpart, which is Victor, which is probably even more threatening for you. Are these matchups somewhat something that you've predicted you're ready for, got the right sideboards for it, the right answers, or is there something that you feel like you're missing out?
I feel like with the 8-card sideboard, should cover most of the decks. Now all that's left is drawing the cards. I've had some games where I sideboard and I see none of the cards I sideboarded, so it'll just have to end up on the card draw. In the end of the day, there is a aspect of luck in game, so hopefully luck's on my side.
Yeah, that's TCGs. But look, Nala Shiva, thank you so much. I'll let you go. You've definitely, we're looking at you for one of the top 8 contestants, right? For day 2. Hopefully, once you reach that stage, we'll probably meet you again here for another interview. So for now, I'll let you cool off, get ready for round 3, and best of luck going forward.
Not again, kind of the kid wonder of this set, I feel like. Aurelia, I mean, definitely the strongest it's ever been in the meta. We do see a lot of Valmal's layers coming out from the side of Kai'Sa, from the side of Yi. So we'll be interested to see how we kind of play around that battlefield, going into stuff like game 2, game 3, from the side of any Aurelia player, to be fair. I do want to see, we do have a lot. Oh, Lyle, welcome back.
Hey, yeah, just to add on to your point, especially the Valmal's battlefield gets tricky, especially if the Aurelia player cannot find their boots or the rider wins to be able to escape.
Right, yeah, we did see that in game 1 where Noto did kind of have that struggle, getting down to 1 point difference, not having access to the moving aspect of the let's say that kind of semi-ganking aspect with the Aurelia Legend. I mean, in a deck like Yi, where they kind of don't really care. I know Victor's play it. I know Kaisa started playing it. That'll be one of those battlefields that you will have to play around, have a kind of a game plan for. And we do know there's Ride the Winds. We do know there's what's this? So we'll be interested to see how we kind of interact with this battlefield. Now going to round 3. Let's see who is currently on top of our standings. Let me check the UBS website.
So it looks like Emir Killer won their round. Ernick99 beat Angelo, who was on Aurelia. Not sure what deck he was playing.
Ernick is on Fiora, actually.
Interesting. Okay. Carl Dean won his game, so he's 1-1. Colin did win his match, so he's 2-0. And I think we're waiting on a couple of other results to come in.
We could go into a break then. Yes. We'll go into a break the next time.
Yeah, one more then.
Oh, we have one more game, one more round, Then we do have a small break coming up, so we'll have one more game, just winning up on the last few rounds to be finalized. I know. So we have. I know we have Emery Killer. I think that's a. Let me get my little table all sorted. Hold on, A to Z. Right. So Emery Killer
Emir
on
Killer is
Aurelia.
Toon. Yeah.
Toon is on Aurelia. I think beating Gemini Tank, that's just a Yi. So we do see a Yi going down in that kind of matchup. Yi Aurelia is one of those 50-50 matchups, so I don't fault Gemini Tank. And he used to be on Fiora, so now on the Yi. But that is one of the players I was kind of banking on to reach that top cut, so might be a bit of a tough run from this side of him. I know we see Whale beating on Luck. Yeah, go on, sorry.
To Escape 2 is on Azir.
Hmm.
Still pulling up his list, but it looks to be quite similar to the list that just won the Lille regional.
I mean, it's a very strong list. We see it beating out Dante the Snake. I think he is definitely on Victor. Right?
Yes.
Right. Do we know what Luck was running going into Whale? Whale, I think one of the again prominent players in this kind of region. Definitely if you're trying to win this tournament, he is the player to beat.
Yeah, has won a couple of skirmishes under his belt. His opponent, Luck, was playing Ezreal. I think going for that new control style of Ezreal, with the Wages of Pain and the Frigid Touches, and just trying to grind you out and trying to draw cards during your turn. So, but Yi was able to just overcome that, and Colin is now 2-0.
Right. So waiting on some players. I mean, definitely I think some players to look at, from our region. I think Noto definitely one of the best players that we do have. Carnivore used to be an Aurora player, but now mostly on this kind of new Yi playstyle. So, but again, having that experience from set 1, someone to look at too. Same with Toldea. I think Toldea might. That is Roy. I think he might be on Draven today. So that, again, I do feel that mid-range Draven is one of those decks that we haven't seen fully, haven't seen its full potential yet, right? One of those decks that should have capability to win these tournaments, to get top cup. Not seeing it from the side of in our tournaments, but today might be the first one. We do kind of see this Draven showing off what he truly can do in this set.
Yeah, and I think we see that now with more and more of these battlefields. You have the Sunken Temple, and we have like the Hall of Legends, just trying to generate more card draw on your side, just trying to match up with that Draven Legend. And so it'll be interesting to see how well it does, and hopefully it can convert to day 2.
I think one of the last matchups that we are waiting on is Maximiliano. We saw him in game 1 versus Esponet, and I'm pretty sure Esponet is Sebastian. Sebastian, I think one of the better Aurelia players. We don't really coming from the side of Magic the Gathering. We don't really see him too often. Oh, and you've seen this live, but we do have the stream up on our side, so I can't actually see myself right now.
So that's always tricky.
Right, no. So we do see this. We're on the big screen right now. I'm on the big screen. Oh yeah, was that Rashid? That's our resident Victor player in chat too. I mean, he has his own tournament to win right now too. I think AD.
I think that's a different Rashid, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, different Rashid? Is he not? Oh, that might be a different Rashid. Oh, is that Bomariam or is that?
Yeah.
Oh, Elbers is not helping you guys. Yeah, so
we're battling the elements today.
Yeah, I mean, it is a very sunny day. Not the best weather to wear a jacket, but you have to look the part in these tournaments.
For sure.
So, I will say, going into next round, I do want to see. Maybe I have the. I do want to see this Azir player actually. I think that's definitely the deck to see, right? I want to see how our players use this kind of new regional winning deck. See if our players can kind of get this deck to its full potential, or are we just kind of almost there? Azir is one of those decks that at a baseline if not played to its best, like to its full potential, doesn't actually do all that much, right? Which is why that we don't really see much Azir winning tournaments, because it is one of those decks where it is a very difficult deck to pilot, but it's also a very difficult deck to kind of get the bare minimum out of. If that makes any sense, right?
No,
So
totally.
I do want to see this. I do want to see this kind of Azir player showing up on the feature match if we're lucky enough to get him.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I think with Azir, I think Azir can sometimes struggle with drawing the wrong half of your deck at the wrong time, where you have all of these arises in your opening hands, but you're lacking all of those low cost equipment to kind of build up that board. And so if you're in that scenario, how do you come back as an Azir player?
right. I mean, now going to turn 0, so not too long for going to get this upcoming round 3. And we were only waiting on one more match. Right, Toldea did beat Mina George Habib. Really good names from the side of our players. But so that is, I think that's one Draven going 2-0. And I think that's one the other Draven going 1 win, 1 so we're still waiting on the last Draven, to be fair. Now, back to Azir for 1 second. So Azir's a pretty interesting deck where you have to draw equipment and you have to draw your other cards, right? Because once you play out an equipment, you do have you play the token from the Azir legend, right? That's not a infinitely recurring thing, such as Victor. Victor can play a token each turn. You're kind of limited on the amount of equipments you've drawn into. Azir sometimes can just draw one equipment and then get rid of that token. And he has no other ways of generating new tokens onto the battlefield because we either don't have our Desert Scroll, we don't have our equipments, and it's also kind of sort of weak into the equipment hate that we kind of did see a lot of recently in the tournaments. We saw a Kaisa main deck Thermobeam, something that you would never do in any other meta, but with the amount of equipment in Aurelia, in Yi, in Azir, I think most decks kind of do have an answer to these equipments, to these gears, and Azir kind of falls behind because of that.
Yeah, and so I think it'd be interesting to see as the Azir player, what other parts of your deck are there to be able to help sustain you when those things happen. Like, do you have your counter spells, or do you already have the arises and have built up a plan to just generate as much point tempo to blow out your opponent before that Thermo Beam turn comes in?
Right, and then I do want to point out Arise. I mean, thoughts on Arise as a card, Lyle?
I think definitely one of the more iconic signature spells. I think definitely playing into that League of Legends, thematic of just being able to roleplay as Azir and just generate as many of these units. But I think it's also a tricky thing of, you want to have as many equipments to be able to generate as many Sand Soldiers, but also you don't want to just immediately play out all of your equipment. Otherwise, you might fall behind in maximizing your utilizing your runes optimally, let's say. And so it's a tricky balance of when do you play this card at the right time. But I think it can be very powerful when utilized correctly.
Right, I think it's one of the best ways for Azir to not only push for game, Arise, not only summoning 2 units, you get 2 Weapon Master procs. We get the Brutalizer procs. We have it. Be able to build up such a massive board. We do see on our 6-point turns, our 4-point turns. Kind of just, it's very much a flip tempo. It's one of those cards that if it does go through, we'll be seeing some double conquers, some big boards being played from the side of Azir. And I do want to highlight one other card that we definitely saw a lot more use in Lille, and it's one of those cards that we will be seeing a lot more in set 3, which is Death Grip. If you want to tell me about the card, Lyle?
Yeah, so the interaction with Death death grip of being able to kill a unit to give another one of your units that might, but then also being able to draw a card. Being able to use that in conjunction with Brutalizer to reattach things and to just edge out your opponent in a showdown. And there's just the benefit of having a card draw. Like card draw is always a good thing, right? And so as the opponent of any Azir player, just looking out for those death grips and making sure that you're leaving enough space to not be blown out by that.
Right. And I do agree. Death grip, you know, as you said, double dipping into these equipments, getting these really large might turns. I think I said with the Aurelia having that infinite might, Azir kind of, if led to his own devices, has the ability to just break any board. You know, the equipment cascade, one of the strongest abilities. We saw it a lot with Jax pre-bans, pre-nerf, right? Where we can kind of cascade all these equipments, use them up one by one, re-equip them up one by one, and generate these large push turns that we don't have access to.
Yeah, and so it's interesting, like with in different decks, like you have boards that have like a lot of might and they're just a bunch of units versus just really big units like Yi or something like that. And so how you handle that cascading of equipment, you can, you know, if it's like in like pre-miracle where they're just able to generate massive boards, you could cascade your equipment and clear that out really easily.
I think this is really good. Yeah, this is really good. This is a Yi mirror match, I think. I want to see this though, if possible.
So we're just looking at our potential matchups for the next round.
Yeah, we just got news that it's going to be a Yi mirror matchup, it seems. And I'm more interested on the players rather than the champions at this time. We've got Vale versus Ernick. Vale, also known as Colin, one of the prominent Riftbound players since set 1, been navigating the likes of Yasuo, Miracle Draven, won a couple of tournaments with that actually. And now finally going into this Master Yi matchup just to see how he can perform against Ernick, who is one of the OG Magic players that's kind of transitioned to Riftbound and obviously kind of using his knowledge in TCGs to kind of navigate that entire space, and reached a lot of finals as well with his Fiora deck. Just lost out against, funny enough, one match against Colin, who seems like it's a bit of a rematch that's going on at the moment right now. Hence why it's on the feature table. What are your thoughts? Master Yi versus Master Yi. It's a mirror matchup. We've got two against. We've got kind of similar mechanic going on, and it's potentially like a mid-range Master Yi as well. Not going to be the Aurora version. What are your thoughts coming into this matchup?
So, Yi versus Yi, two decks that are supremely good at defense, right? Yi's +2 on the defense is one of the strongest things in the game. Think about it, it's a free on guard, free on guard, a free discipline every single turn, right? The issue is now, Yi has been notorious on being weak on the attack, right? And in a Yi mirror match, it all depends on who can take first hold of the battlefield, and because breaking a battlefield as the opposing Yi is so much harder, because not only do you not have a legend ability, if you think about it, if you're on the attack, but your opponent has the Yi legend ability, one of the hardest things to break on defense. So definitely, it feels like how effective we are at using our pump spells to not only kind of attack, but again, at stopping our opponent's attacks. And it'll be very much of a resource management game from the side of both players. Now, the card to see in this matchup, is either the White Flame Protector, White Flame being able to give a +8 to a unit, which guarantees a board break most of the time, right? Because even a punch first plus the Yi legend ability doesn't make up for the +8. But definitely one of the stronger things that Yi can do on the attack. And then also, most importantly, Trinity Force. Now, Trinity Force, I know some people kind of switch between one or two of in the main deck, but right now, the player with Trinity Force not only has such a big advantage in this game state.
What
So
about
just
you?
to
What do
update you on
think? Yeah.
lists, there are no white flame protectors in either of these decks. There are Trinity Forces, but the counts are a little different. Colin has one, where Alex has opted to put 2 Trinity Forces in.
Very interesting. It seems like it's a mirror matchup, but both got various different strategies going on with this.
Yeah.
One interesting having one Trinity Force on Colin's side does seem a bit weird, considering he's also playing Forge of the Fluff right now. I don't know. What's your thoughts going into this? What do you think that Colin should? What's a secret weapon that he has that you feel like he would
Do
be?
forgive me if I butcher this name, but I think it's Barchek, they call him the Charmster from Lille. He's got that went top 8 with the side of Yi. He also ran one Trinity Force. I think I did talk about it. I was giving light of it in the regionals. So Yi used to have 3 Trinity Forces because we couldn't play our 2 drops. So that means we're very far behind on points early on in the game. Now, we do see, due to the prevalence of yellow in the format and the kind of the weakness of Draven and not being able to exploit these 2 drops, we see a lot more 2 drops being played. You see 7 or 6 of them being played on both
I
sides
have
of the deck.
to pause you right there because we are started with the game at the moment
Oh,
right
sorry,
now.
man.
Colin
Doran's
seems like
Blade.
he's played. He's gone first, got that Lonely Poro out. Ernick comes in with the Doran's Blade, puts it into it. No units on board at the moment right now. Colin getting that first point lead, going up by 1 point with all his runes still active. Are we going to see that Trinity Force on him? Is this game one already to Colin at this point, or are we going to be seeing something else?
I mean, this Doran's Blade is a very interesting tech. We don't one of those cards that you don't really see. I think only seen in Jax. I think just I'm gonna be very useful because remember it does kind of just make up for the +2 that the elite legend ability does give. So if we have the units to back up, if we have the Aurelia, we have the Navori Scout, we kind of can just start taking over these battlefields.
What are
Yeah.
you guys' thought on the let's say the popularity of Navori Scout now? I mean, it used to be a card that you would consider just bulk, and now we're seeing it kind of rise in these decks.
I think it's definitely a great card. 4 cost, no recycles, gets a deflect. Pretty strong in decks like Master Yi at the moment right now. Essentially, that's a 6 might unit with a deflect that you're looking at the moment right now as well. It is in my opinion a fairly strong card to kind of run at the moment. There is, in my opinion, one more slept on card, which is the Dauntless Warrior, I think, which is a 4 cost orange card that you can play directly into the battlefield of an occupied battlefield.
Vanguard.
Yeah, it's kind of a mini
mini
Dead Moon,
Dead Moon, yeah.
which I feel like is also very strong and slept on card that I feel like is going to pick up some traction, probably possibly in the next set as well. But yeah, the Navori Scout coming in with the deflect, a Rune Runner out this early for Vale, but the question has to be asked: is it a card that's going to make a massive difference here in this matchup? Considering the only potential spell that Ernick or Master Yi could play from his side is a challenge.
Or Charm or Challenge.
Charm, yeah, that's another card that could also be played at this point. So yes, there is value to it, but not the same value that you'd see in a matchup with like.
Right. And I think definitely one of those. I mean, having this Rune Runner is only 5 might, and we're staring down 8 mites worth on defense from that Navori Scout, which might be a bit too much to handle on our side. So Ernick's Doran's Blade kind of coming in really clutch, of saying, you're not only gonna have to invest 1 pump spell, you're gonna have to invest 2 to get up to the 8, and then now I can start playing my own. So definitely Ernick having that one battlefield down. And remember, we can't transfer that Doran's Blade with our legend ability, with our legend using the Forge of the Fluff. So we are threatening an incoming 8 might attack with the side of Yi, which it's still stronger than the Rune Runner with that +2. I mean, really, I think Ernick kind of seeing the amount of Yi players in this format and saying, you know what, I'm going to tech my card to win this tech my deck to win this mirror match.
I will say though, Vale is potentially also running similar techs like this, probably in his sideboard at the moment. So Yeah, to your point, but keep in mind it is Whale with the current point lead at the moment right now. Uh, but here's a question that I do want to ask you guys. Maybe with Lyle to kind of answer this immediately. Do you think it's a race also on who gets to put out Yi out in the first, just so that you can get up to that 8 might mark, or is it more of who can develop the board the fastest?
Again, so Yi is more of a tempo catch-up tool, right? It's one of those tools that we can use to kind of get back into the game. It's not going to see as much value in this game, I feel, because it is only going to be that 6 mile attack or that 8 mile attack if you're outside of Ernick.
Yeah.
Now, I will probably say we will see it come out from the side of Ernick first, because he's currently behind on points. So we will see that come out from his side first, but then that does mean Colin can now react with his own Yi. Actually, you want to be at the position where you're playing your chosen champion second in this kind of matchup.
Yeah, and I think too, with Yi, it's not just about playing him, but it's also playing him with enough runes open to also have the pump spells with attacking, just to be able to get over the Yi legend passive.
Wait, just make was that? Wait, did he hold or wait? Was the voice scout held or conquered? Oh, that's fine.
He just
came
conquered.
into the battlefield.
That's fine.
Yeah, he just came into the battlefield. I still believe it was Colin's turn. He's the one who's developed the board at the moment right now, and then once he passes it over to Ernick, he should be at 2 points.
Yeah, and Colin playing down the Aurelia is trying to develop his board over more.
Yes, sir. I'm making sure that it's the right amount of points. So the Aurelia now. This Aurelia is probably the card of this matchup.
That is true. Yeah.
Being able to now kind of say, man, as I said before, the most important part of this matchup is that we're so weak on the attack. Now Aurelia is one of the strongest cards in the game on the attack. Any double, you win any kind of pump spell war with this card. It doesn't matter if you have punch first, you have any other cards. This card will reach those might break points if we have the cards at hand to support it. Now, if you're on the side of Ernick, you will see this, and you kind of have to say, all right, how am I going to deal with this next turn? Because we don't have charms. You can't really charm it. We can't really falling start it. We can't rebuke it like other decks do. We have to face it head on. And we are 8 might on the defense. Maybe a punch first here or there could kind of make up for the might difference. Again, such a scary position if you are on the side of Ernick.
True. I mean, one other check that you could also kind of use is charm more defensively, which means moving your units away from your own units, or moving the enemy units away, actually, which could obviously come into clutch when it comes to the final 3 points, right? You are right, facing an Aurelia head on at this point. There comes the Trinity Force, uses the Forge of the Club to attach it to this Navori Scout, making it even bigger with the deflect. It looks like Aurelia might be going through a massive hurdle to kind of get to that mark, to kind of get rid of that battlefield.
Stack currently is 10 might.
10 might, there we go. The charm coming in, as I discussed, but used a bit more offensively at this point right now. Recycles both the orange and a green rune, one for deflect, one for the cost of the stay. Aurelia moves into the battlefield. 2 runes open from Whale's side. That is a 10 might Navori Scout that you're looking at. Would Whale be able to make that into a very massive Aurelia? Is the question.
1 punch first is enough to trade here, right?
1 punch Aurelia, indeed, yes. It's getting that punch
I missed
first.
that issue.
1 punch Aurelia does not seem to be
1
the
punch
case.
Aurelia is not right now. I think
Guardian Angel in Whale's hand, though, it seems like I can see the frustration in his hand.
Right.
He was probably like, I should have played that Guardian Angel immediately. I should have attached it to that Aurelia. Now I'm in a very bad position at this point with that Navori Scout, super massive, super big, kind of taking care of.
Forge of the Plus, because we can just move that Trinity Force over to the Rune Runner, and then it's just straight up a pump spell war. And because he probably has to play some cards here to develop, we'll probably have more runes on the side of Ernick when it comes to this upcoming attack. Now, if you're on the side of you, if you had the chance to kind of kill this scout and score, you would love to. But then again, I don't see that we have the cards to do so.
Exactly.
If we had the cards to do so, we would have used it last turn on the Relia push.
I mean, this was a play that I had in mind, was probably where he could bring out the Master Yi, wait for another turn, and see what could be the situation. Like you said, running a punch first on that Master Yi would be a solution. But yeah, it is a bit of a setup, and against this Navori Scout with again a single rune open from Ernic's side, which means that he could potentially play a on guard as well.
I mean, punch vest or on guard is one of the scariest
First
things,
round
right?
guards, yeah.
That's
It's
15 life.
yeah, it's just goes to show that at this point this is a bit of a skill matchup. Even with Vale having that point lead with the early advantage of having that unit up on board and all of this sort of stuff, it didn't really matter because you get to this point, you have the Navori Scout that's super massive with the deflect, scoring up to 2 points in a single hold. I don't know. It looks like Vale is in a bit of a situation at the moment.
Now, do know that we will, if the game stays as is and control the battlefield stays as is, even though we're behind on points, Ernick will actually end up winning out. due to the-
Interesting.
because we go for
Sacrifices the
6 to 8.
Poro just to get a card draw. It's like Ernick might be looking for options to see how we can deal with this Rune Runner.
Remember, we can move over one of the Trinity forces to the Rune Runner if we need to. Probably moving over the Doran's Blade to keep
Yeah.
that whole point. I know. I mean, if you're on the side of Ernick, I just kind of just want to play my units. Right now, I am winning the game.
Yeah.
Even though you're ahead of me by a single point, you only go to the 6 while I go up to 6 next turn, and
Yeah.
I'm threatening lethal the turn right after.
Exactly.
While you're not. So I think Ernick kind of seeing the position that he's in, really liking it.
Yeah, there we go. That was another option, just to fortify this battlefield, just have many units as much as you can possibly. Keep in mind, there's no direct removals that you have with this. Very interesting moves. The Navori Scout back, puts in the Ferris Forerunner with the Trinity Force, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, with the Trinity Force, and even though we kind of went down on runes for this kind of play, we went down on might strike for this kind of play, going to 9 instead of 10.
Yeah.
We do kind of give up. We do kind of save ourselves from charm. Remember, even if we charm our unit into base, we don't get the double hold point. But now with that Rune Runner there, that can't. We will get that double hold point no matter what, if there's a charm or no. Sorry, Lyle, you have something to say? Lyle?
No. No. You're doing a great job.
So
Looks
from this
like,
point
yeah,
forward,
same strategy once again, just moves the Poro into the battlefield, tries to get that extra card. What do you think, if you were calling at this moment right now, what are you looking for? What's the card that you need to make this change? Is it the punch first plus the mastery combination that you're looking for, or is there something else?
I mean, Trinity Force definitely. That's one of those cards we can't. We need to get.
Brutalizer.
Brutalizer. That's not the card you see too often.
Yeah, but I would have thought maybe he would have put out the Master Yi first, no? Looks like he's going for the first mate strategy. Yeah, there we go. Puts out the first mate, gets that. He knows that he needs to break this hold that Ernick's going on at the moment right now. Ernick does have 4 runes open though.
It's 11 to 9 right now.
11 to 9 might at the moment right now.
And I do love this Brutalizer pick from Colin. I think we've seen it be used on these Forge of the Fluff games. I know it's in my personal E deck, and I do love this card. Getting that +3 kind of, if you think about it, it goes over Yi's Legend ability by 1. Right? So no matter
Using an
what,
on guard as well, just to get that initial mic up.
it's an on guard.
Another on guard to an on guard. So if I'm not mistaken, it is Ernick's Forerunner that's currently on the lead.
So I'm pretty sure we have 6 might, we have 9, so it's 11 might from the side of the Rune Runner on Colin's side. That's 5, 7, 9. Yeah, so they're both 11 to 11.
11 to 11. There we go. 13 to 11 at the moment right now.
And there's the Defy for Colin's second on guard.
Divide comes in.
Huge swing. And so even the question for Colin is, even if he's able to get over this
On
Rune
guard
Runner,
comes.
like what do you do with the Trinity Force after?
Right, because We go up to I think we go up to 7
That is a good
points.
question, Lyle. I mean, having the Trinity Force back into the base, and there's no easy way to discard it. You are right. Another discipline, two disciplines
Two
coming
disciplines.
out of Collins. Did he top deck that?
I'm not sure. I think you're definitely holding on to it. We saw some defies coming out, and we do get this point now up to 7. We have the GA,
and just like that, Collins back on the driver's seat. And I'm telling you, this matchup is the one for the books, because just both these masteries, both these experienced players going at it each other, knows the strengths and weaknesses of these decks. Colin piloted that beautifully well, and it looks like he's in the lead right now, and it might be game over unless Ernick finds a way to break his hold.
But he did use a lot of cards and resources to be able to do that. Multiple on guards, disciplines as well, and he only has one rune up. So it's up to Ernick now to see how he can respond.
That's true, yeah. Just to see, I mean, he does have the might on board at the moment right now. Even if he gets a mastery out as well, looks like he just moves the start point to get initial card draws, maybe as an insurance. Goes up to 5 points. Mastery still able to be deployed with the Trinity Force, and the Worry Scout is also available. Correct me if I'm wrong. The Rune Runner is currently at what might?
7 might. As I go up to 9 on the defense, 9 on the defense. So that's still, even with this Trinity Force, that's still not enough. You're gonna have to use a pump spell here. But remember, even if we use this pump spell, this Rune Runner does have a GA, so it will be coming at us again the next turn.
So no choice but to break that hold. Comes in with the Nefori Scout. Looks like Collins okay to let it go.
Let's run. Oh, Sterak's Gauge.
What is going on?
That's
What
something you don't see.
Yeah, what is going on? Ernick is super prepared for these matchups.
Plus 3, right? So that's 11. So even if we have any kind of pump spell from Whale, we do kind of trade. But remember, we use so many of our pumps. We use 2 disciplines and on guard.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he has a solution for it yet.
He doesn't have he has a discipline in hand, I think, but he doesn't have the runes for it.
Yeah, I think we have 2 open. I'm not sure. It might be overlapping.
I think it was 1 or was it 2?
There's the punch first.
Punch first coming in. He's got 2 runes open. Could have used the. Yeah, he knew.
Oh, and not having the answer, and Colin takes game 1.
Wow, interesting.
Oof.
I mean, I would have not expected that with how the game's going.
It's just a lot of back and forth, a lot of swinging that's going between these players. It's really, this is, I would say, peak her Riftbound gameplay that we can witness at this point right now. Usually the mirror matchups are the most boring ones, but so far this has been one of the most exciting games that we've seen so far. Just a lot of back and forth. You know these two really know their decks really well, piloting it to their best effectiveness. Now the actual game starts with game 2 and game 3, potentially game 3, with the sideboards effectively coming in to see how can Colin maintain his position, or how can Ernick break this. If it was you guys over there in the table right now, what will your sideboard options be? What are you guys looking for?
So I do want to say, falling into the trap of putting too many auctions right now in this game might be very important. Because remember, we were on Forge of the Flood. Ernick and Whale both do have the option of saying, you know what, these equipments are going to have their maximum amount of value on this battlefield, right? So if I'm Ernick, if I'm Whale, I might be thinking about actually signing out my Blue Advisor, signing out my Static Stage, because we did kind of get the maximum amount of value. And if we do side them out, if our opponent doesn't see that line of play, he can run a lot more actions that won't see that much use. But again, I think that the card right now. So you want to go? Huh?
No. You can finish your point. Go ahead.
The card to see is Huang. Now, kind of, you force your opponent to use all these bump spells, get in up to this might. Use your punch first. Use these disciplines and on guards. And then after all that, we just go, okay, well, all those cards you just used are now useless.
Yeah, both both players' sideboards are actually fairly similar. In fact, most of the deck, the cards in the decks are similar, with the exceptions of Colin running the Aurelia versus Ernick running the Sterix gauges and a little bit more into those gear and those equipments. But yeah, we do see the Akshan. We also see one copy of Disarming Rake for both sides, as well as one copy of Thwonk for both sides. And so I think, Atar, you have a very valid point of, with that battlefield, like who's going to be playing chicken with that Akshan? And is that just going to be a vanilla 4/4 that you play?
I mean, especially with auction in general, we do have to go down 2 orange units, right? And as much as it is a big tempo swing to kind of take over that piece of equipment, going down those runes means that in the upcoming pump spell wars that you'll kind of eventually get into with the nature of this matchup, that we won't have enough resources to kind of, it might have the cards in hand, but we might not have the rune count to play all our spells all at once. Now, I think the key to this matchup is development. Whoever can develop more on their board while still trying to keep a good tempo is going to be the person that wins this out. We saw it happen. We saw Ernick kind of have to use his runes to deal with the Aurelia, to deal with these constant big might units that Colin just kept threatening every single turn. And we did have the Trinity Force from the side of Ernick, but again, with not having enough pump spells, not having enough units to kind of back it up, was kind of the boon that made us lose that game. I think this game is very much still up in the air.
Yeah.
Both players are very skilled, the best that we have to offer.
Yeah.
So I do expect this to go to a game 3.
And it also goes to show that both these players know their deck so well, where even the game just ended in, I think, around 25 minutes, which is, for a mirror matchup, it is, especially when it's a Yi against a Yi, there's definitely some skill involved in that level. But it'll be interesting to see. Let's see. So it seems like Ernick will have the choice to go first, I believe, which that's what he chose. He keeps his hand, draws the 2 runes, draws a card. And interesting battlefield choices. You've got the Grove and the Wild Moss Lair.
Now, Grove is definitely the card for this matchup. Remember how I said that it's very hard for Yi to kind of beat the other Yi on the attack, right?
Hold, yeah.
So we will be seeing Ernick kind of keep control of this battlefield for the large majority of this game.
Yep.
That's going to give him a lot more resources to play around with, a lot more pumps to play around with, which kind of makes it harder for Colin to get. Every single turn this forest stays on there is another turn where it's kind of increasingly harder and harder to deal with.
That's true, yeah. And like you said, just getting those, like you said, goes for that hold that you saw, that you were talking about with the going into the Grove of the God build, it's a tongue twister. Gets that point, potentially looking to hold, score an extra point, get an extra card, charms the Starcon. Interesting, very interesting tech by Master Yi. But
It's a draw.
exactly that makes Ernick draws an extra card, and he's going to draw another extra card with the start of his turn. I don't know. Was that the right play?
I mean, Silicon Herder, he will draw so many cards
That is true.
throughout the
Yeah,
course of
that's
this
true.
matchup,
Yeah.
right? Kind of denying, because your opponent's already going to have so many more cards than you do to grow up with the gold below. So kind of denying this kind of card advantage early is what Whale has to do. Because remember, drawing 1 card off of growth, you can deal with that. But once that starts coming 2, 3, 4 more cards, it's going to be super hard to Whale to kind of deal with this.
That is true. Yeah. He's there we go. He's triggered the scope. He's drawn the card. Ernick with 5 runes open. 6 runes, sorry. Whale got a single rune open at the moment right now. Not much you can do. I think you just could potentially focus on building that board. Maybe leaving a few runes open for some pump spells to defend that Lonely Poro, so you can draw an extra card. But will be interesting to see what Ernick will be now developing in his board. He's got another Stellar.
And this is just so much card draw from the side of Ernick. Yet Whale his hand's gonna be a lot smaller than Ernick. This has to be the turn where we take over this growth, or we're gonna be too far behind.
That is true. Yeah, this Guardian Angel in the side of Vale. Can't really make out the other card. Is that another charm?
That might be a brutalizer. That could be enough. But again, punch first also be a scary card.
And honestly, even if the Lonely Poro goes and dies from the Godwill Willow, it's not the end of the world. It's not that bad for Ernick. He gets to draw an additional card. It's, you know, in a position of like, in this case, Ernick has the card lead. He's got the units on board. If you were right there, Lion, would you focus more on developing your board, or would you look into breaking this hold with the God Willow?
It's a tricky situation because I feel like it's a lose-lose either way. Like if you try to develop your board, you're giving up cards, which just means like more options for your opponent to play around.
Yeah.
And if you try to eliminate the Poro on board right now, you're not developing your board, and then you can get blown out later. So Colin opting to develop the Aurelia, not enough runes to also play the GA and have it equipped. And so we'll see if he might regret that.
Yeah, potential challenge might come out, but unlikely.
Yeah, I think Charm is a huge card to look after. I was going to ask you, Lyle, specifically, right? In this matchup, in this kind of board state, we know that Colin does have the Brutalizer, which can get Aurelia up to a certain amount of might. How scared are we of punch first? Like, how scared? Do we still have to play around it? Or do you think we're at the point of the game where if our opponent has punch first, we kind of just lose the game either way? So we might as well just start playing like he doesn't have it.
On the side of Colin or Ernick?
On the side of Colin.
I feel like, I know it depends on my mental state of if we're ahead, then if he has it, he has it. And if we're behind, then you kind of have to throw all caution to the wind and just go for it, right? Like at certain points you can't play around. Well, like you can try and do your best to play around those cards, but at the end of the day you have to be active in some way, otherwise you're just going to lose to whatever's on board.
Yep, right. And we do see the Silicon Herder going to Balmos. Now we do got to draw one from the Herder, but because it's at the Balmos, we won't be seeing any more draws from it. We have no way of getting a ganking in green orange that I know of. So,
but it is offset. Sorry, it is offset by having that Trinity Force, and so the value that you lose in draw, you're gaining in points.
Right.
That is true. Yeah, and another card draw for Ernick. Oh my God, a
Not
charm
again.
from an Aurelia.
absolute blowout.
Yeah, it looks like, I don't know. If I was in this position, I would just say let's go next.
Does
Yeah,
Colin
just-
have 2 GAs in hand?
I think he just had the GA in hand. I'm not sure if we had Defy. A play that if we do have the Defy, I think well played from Ernick to just kind of bait it out right then and there. And now you're faced with a very, very important decision. Do you either A, Grove, or B, try and go for the Trinity Force?
How about you? I'd have to go for the Poro just because it's just going to keep generating card draws, and that keep in mind that Stalkon Herder is kind of stuck over there. There's no way for her to move out, right? And there are no cards in orange that could